inference to do so.
I don't think Tasteless understands what fallacious means.
I think we should have muted him before
Yeah.
when he said he had to go.
Oh,
I did.
Concrete,
He was
you said-
grandstanding, so I muted him.
Could you explain the fallacy that he was trying to grapple?
It's really simple, right? It's possibly the case that while his friend is not a mechanic, he has special, intimate knowledge of this particular car with this particular issue. So, Seth just dismissing him offhand would be a mistake in that particular instance.
Right now, we're talking about
So
fallacy.
that's a fallacy.
Nobody's saying that they're necessary.
That's not a fallacy.
Nobody's saying that
what
they're
is
necessarily incorrect. Nobody's saying that Paul Joseph Watson. Like, nobody is saying. Varonika and Omni are here. Hey, what's up, guys?
Hello.
Hey, bro.
Hello.
Hey,
How are you?
Veronica. How's your grappling hook,
Hey,
Veronica?
How's my what?
Your grappling hook, the one that's made of multi,
Oh.
that was a 12-prong grappling hook that we used to break you out of the Illuminati jail. That we
Yeah,
placed you in last December when you revolted against Steven.
it's great. I'm looking for my Moldavite though. I misplaced it.
If that stuff's
Oh,
valuable, you'd be careful with
I
that.
know.
I got a piece up my ass. You need one? That's usually where I store my Moldavite.
I'll find mine.
Okay. Yeah, you probably don't want the one that's up my
On a
ass,
technical
honestly.
note, just so before this goes too far, can somebody? Oh no, we can't unmute Tasteless until he's a boy.
No.
Screw him.
Oops. No, he's gonna be real mad when he comes back. He might leave.
Yeah. So Omni, what's you seen Hermes in our chat hanging around here?
I haven't seen him in the chat, but I'll tell you, I know Nalon like the back of my hand. So I got him to once believe that I was a time traveler and that in the year 2024 he would be very beneficial to the future of humanity so that he needed to keep himself alive. I kept that up for about 24 hours, then I got bored. But, you know, you can convince Nalon of anything, even that you're the Messiah.
There he is.
Yeah, Veronica was actually in a, we got her imprisoned. Was it at Abu Ghraib? Was it at Abu Ghraib, Veronica? And then we had you break out of there with a 12-prong grappling hook, and they believed it.
God, was that where it was?
It was somewhere. It was like Abu Ghraib or something. Out Guantanamo, somewhere like that.
Guantanamo, that's where it was. Guantanamo Bay.
Yeah, they thought Rhonda was
Yeah,
in
and I killed a guard.
Guantanamo, and yeah, she killed a guard and uploaded a secret message. And the first letter of every line of the message, if you read it down horizontally, this was thanks to our good friend Addison, read "You are stupid." If you read it down from top to bottom, but they didn't catch it. They're not very
No.
smart.
But he did think your fake name Sergey was intentional.
Yeah, yeah.
Sergey was supposed to be Sergey.
Didn't we
You
have them
understand that.
decoding the message for 24 hours? Like,
Oh,
they
yeah,
decoded
that's
our
right.
secret message for 24 hours. I'm telling
Some
you,
crazy program.
you can convince Nalon of anything. I'm telling you, if you were to come up with it right now and announce it on the air that you're going to convince him of it, you could do it, even if you announced it.
How do you think he was when he had this real break from reality that he seems to be suffering from now?
He's been broken from reality since I knew he existed. He's always been into Steven, so far as I've known of him.
And Steven in like 2015 or 16 when he was, I
When
think
his
for a
acne
couple
was
years
still
before
real
I
bad?
actually joined him. It was like 2017 that he actually hooked, started becoming friends with Steven, but he followed him in his streams for a couple years as Lotus Garden. Remember that name?
See, I remember I
You know.
followed Steven since 2015 or 16, and I never heard of Nalon until like 2000, maybe late 2017. So
Yeah, he
there
would
was
just come into his streams. when Steven had those live streams.
See, there was a prototype for Nalon. His name was Julian.
Oh
And
yeah.
Julian was like the initial version of Nalon, but then eventually Julian realized that Steven was a charlatan and like went on to live the rest of his miserable homeless life in a camper in the middle of nowhere. So
Yeah.
then Steven was like, well, I need a replacement for Julian. So then he moved Nalon in. So Nalon's actually like a replacement for a failed version of him earlier on. Which I've told all of this to Nalon, but you know, I'm sure you guys have talked to Nalon too, and Nalon's not very open to new ideas. So
Did he agree to do that IQ test, Tom? I was curious.
Well, he agreed to it. Came back after.
Yeah, we haven't seen him since then, right? So
I
That's
think
just-
his IQ could be high. I don't think he has a low
that's what
IQ.
the question is, I guess. Does he have an high IQ or not?
Yeah, the question was whether or not he had a higher IQ.
It's hard because like he seems like part of what his problem is that like he's tricked himself into believing a bunch of different things. So you go, well, a smart person would do something like that, but then when you think of the different things that he's tricked himself into believing, it's just a bunch of stuff that stupid people would believe in. So it's really hard to get a good reading on him.
Well, I talked to him quite a bit, asked him a lot of questions about his younger
I'm sure
life.
he lied to you, by the way.
Probably did. Probably
Mhm.
did. He mentioned one of the things he mentioned a lot was going away to a quote unquote art school for 2 years, which I couldn't determine if that was where he went or if he was actually somewhere for psychiatric purposes for a couple of years.
As far as I know, he did go to a boarding school, an art school, unless he's lied to all of us too. But
It was probably because his
yeah.
parents were like, get the fuck away from us. You're going to go way over here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they sent him when he started following Steven, his parents did send him psychiatric treatment, you
Yeah,
know, and
I
then
was wondering how he survives now. Is Travis paying for everything?
Oh my god, this guy.
Yeah.
I'm curious about that because when I mentioned he was still in the room when we were kind of done with one of the longer conversations he had when he had the little spurg out at the end and got quiet and
Yes,
somebody
that was a lot.
asked, yeah, and I said to somebody, you know, I've been through depression and I've been to the funny farm for depression, and I've heard people speak in very similar way to people with schizophrenia and other disorders talk in very similar ways and having like this unreal access to this some database of information that they've stored up about whatever their delusions are. He did not like that.
No. He'll yell
about
over
the
you if you
numbers.
say something he
Yeah.
doesn't like. He's I don't know. I mean, everything about them is so ridiculous because like Steven is he may not seem like it. I don't know how much you guys have paid attention to him or how much you know the whole story, but Steven's a very homophobic, nasty, hateful person. So this idea that he's now suddenly like a transgender woman and that Nalon's a trans woman who wants to have sex with Steven is like this is ridiculous because this is what we were ripping on them for a year ago. Like we were saying, like you are obviously gay and you obviously want to have sex with Steven. That's where all this homophobia is coming from. It all turns out to be true, and yet like they try to frame it like they go, well, we tricked you into revealing you're the real homophobe. It's like, well, you know, I'm sure I've sucked way more dick than all of you combined. Well, I don't know about Steven, but it's crazy. Like whatever you say about them now, like you've got 12 months and it will manifest. Like the craziest things you say about them will come true. I've witnessed it happen multiple years in a row. No matter how insane you go with this, no matter how ridiculous and the extent you take it, like they take it to the lowest point you could imagine and they make it even crazier. I can't believe that this is still happening. Like Steven's been in prison for over a year and this is still going on. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it
He's
was even.
still-
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
still thinking he's going to be pardoned and he's going to be
Yeah,
released. And,
they have a
yeah.
prophecy that in November they're going to land on the top of Mount Rushmore via helicopter and
Not
see the
not
heads
Mount
of the four
Rushmore, the
presidents.
Washington Monument. The
Oh, they
Washington
changed
Monument.
it. They switched it. This is what, and you know what? It's like, if you're gonna lie about prophecies, like, learn from the people who have done it as a career, and set your prophecies for like 5 to 10 years ahead of whenever you make them, not 5 to 10 weeks, because you're gonna fucking look stupid.
Well, that's just it. One of the big things we talked about was a previous cult leader. Oh, what was his name? Starts with a C. Does anybody remember
Charlie
who that was?
Manson.
Who?
Cyrus,
no.
Cyrus T.
Similar.
Cyrus T.
Cyrus T. Yeah, who had a
Oh no,
bunch of
Steven bases himself on Cyrus Teed. He thinks he's
right.
the reincarnation of Cyrus Teed.
So
Cyrus T was where he got all of his concave Earth knowledge. That's where he first
Yeah.
started getting into that. You
Oh
know.
my God, Rhonda, we're like the Steven historians.
What was brought up to him?
Right.
It was brought up to him on that very point about his prophecies, about all the prophecies. We're like, look, how many times does a prophet or one of your Messiah guys have to die before you realize that they don't know what they're talking about and none of their prophecies come true? And they just say, well, he came up with some response to the effect of it starts over again, or it just means it needs a new vessel to be around for more time. Yeah. He'll adjust it.
Yeah.
He'll adjust it to whatever it needs to be.
That's exactly
He
what'll
said
happen.
that Stephen would not die, but in the case that he did die, well, then we just start all over and wait
Yeah.
for his return.
I'm telling you, the best thing that could ever happen to Nalon and Travis would be if Steven died. Because then he would no longer be alive to contradict whatever they say about him. And they can just claim that the things that he said in the past, where Steven said he's the master pedophile, and a number of other things. I can link you guys to videos where Nalon is there in the room when Steven says that, nodding his head along like it's normal. Like, they can take that if Steven's dead and say, well, we misinterpret it. But if Steven's alive, whatever they say, Steven can just contradict it the next time they allow him to come to a computer for like 2 hours, you know? So Steven's death would be the best thing that ever happened for this stupid cult.
So how long, when Nalon came along, were you both already in when Nalon came along, or was Nalon in there when you guys came along?
Yeah, we've been there for a couple years already.
Rhonda, we came into it around the same time, I believe.
Yeah,
like I was
came in
adversarial, and you were like his, you were his friend. But I liked you, and I hated Steven. That made it really
Right.
like hard for me, because he tried to bait me into attacking you once, and I was like, well, I'm not gonna attack her. Like, she never said anything nasty about me, so I ignored it. But
And I was the one that kept him entangled with you, remember? Because he asked me what I thought about you,
yeah,
and I was like,
he made that video, that famous video
Yeah.
where he says that everyone should pay attention to me because I'm a big up and coming comedian. And that's because of you. I bet he regrets that now.
yeah.
What a turd. My first interaction with Steven, I attacked him because I was attacking flat earthers, and I was just looking for conspiracy theorists. And his response was to say that I had AIDS and that I was raped by my father. So
Oh my God.
when he did that, I was just like, I will fucking destroy you if it's the last thing I do. And I did it, and it didn't even take that much effort, so it's pretty cool. But yeah.
Wow.
I heard Nalon was saying that, he's a non-violent person, and that, like, he's never suggested violence or anything. Did he say that to you guys?
I don't recall that specifically.
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
Well,
It
there's
was when it was when I was pulling him up on talking about beheadings, and he said,
Right.
that was.
He specifically called for pretty much all of us to be beheaded, and said the streets would run red with the blood of the beheadings of all the enemies of Stephen Christ. And I'm gonna find the link to that, and I'm gonna share that with you. But
Well,
he's
there's
a notoriously violent person.
There's nothing wrong with a good beheading.
That's true. I mean, I like beheadings. They're enchanting.
Solid entertainment there.
Yeah.
Goody.
But
No.
yeah, no,
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say he's very violent because I heard that this wasn't delved into too much when some of the previous conversations, but Addison and I had a major troll that Varonika participated in last December, wherein we convinced Travis and Nalon that myself, Michael, was murdered by
Mhm.
Ukrainian agents who worship Stephen working for QAnon. And for it was between 2 to 3 days, they actively covered up what they thought was a legitimate murder. And Nalon, like, almost sexually suggested that he wanted to see the images. Like, he was horny to
Wow.
see the images of my final moments. So the idea that he is not violent is ridiculous. He would cover up a murder, and I proved that beyond the shadow of a doubt with help from Addison and Veronica last December. And I'll be glad to provide the links to a video with all of the fucking text message screenshots from that. By the way, Travis believes that Tom Petty is still alive and worships Stephen Christ.
Oh,
He also
and
believes in the
also
clone.
John Lennon. He thinks John Lennon is still alive as well.
Yes, and he thinks John Lennon worships Stephen. You know, he should really be careful about claiming that celebrities worship him as God, because some of them are still alive and probably don't appreciate it very much.
Yeah, he said Taylor Swift was one of them.
Oh yeah, Taylor Swift. I'm sure she just can't wait for Stephen to impregnate her with his hot Messiah dick.
Yeah, yeah. That was
He
really
said
weird to me.
Taylor's a clone. Taylor's a clone made to look.
Yeah, he did go into
androgynous.
that. He
Oh God.
an alien, actually an alien human hybrid is what he described.
Oh right.
Oh
Something
yeah,
like that.
that's when I asked. I said, "What are your thoughts on cloning?" And he
No, they
went
believe
into
in
this
clones.
tangent. Oh no, see, I didn't know. Thank you, Addison, for that one, darling. So
Stephen
Addison,
totally
ask him
loves
about
clones.
cloning. Yeah.
You're
Oh
welcome.
dear.
Okay, you guys should listen how he tricked them. Okay, when I did like a live show, and I only did like 30 minutes, and I knocked on my own desk like this, and I pretended someone was knocking on the door, and I ended the live stream. It was so fucking simple. It was the dumbest fucking shit you could ever imagine. And they ate it up. They believed every second of it, because they have such a cognitive bias that if you say anything, like if you say, Stephen just escaped prison right now, they'll believe it for 2 hours. At least. Like, that's a given, no matter what you say.
That's an interesting point, because there was a at one point one of our guys here, one of the mods here, Joe Vaughn, was listening in, and he was firmly convinced that Hermes was just a troll, because at one point I thought I'm going to test this, and I
thought they were trolls too, man.
Yeah, and I threw out. I said, "Hey, Hermes, what about the Stargate? When is that going to be?" And he went off onto a whole diatribe about the Stargate, something I had just pulled out of my ass and thrown into the conversation, and he went off on it. So at that point, we couldn't be sure. We weren't sure. I wasn't sure at that point. But then
it's impossible to know because they're so stupid. It's like, is this real? Is this real?
And they have a lot of things that come. Hermes has a lot of things he comes back to in his conversation that belies a lot of stuff about his past. I mean,
he's a liar.
And their whole fixation on child trafficking. I mean, he has to bring that up at least once every 10 to 15 minutes about the military and child trafficking.
Let me find this video where Stephen calls himself the master pedophile, and Nalon is right there with Travis, both nodding their heads along like this is
master pedophile. You're kidding.
Yeah, I'm not kidding at all. I have video where Stephen is looking in the camera going, "Suck my cock, Mikey. Oh, yeah, suck it." And he's talking to me. And the video, it got removed because it's obviously against TOS. But I have.
Of course, you have it.
Yeah, of course. I would never let that go. Lord Stephen
Mike,
Christ,
whilst you're looking for that, Mikey, like Mikey is the adversary of Stephen. He's been.
Oh yeah, he thinks I'm the devil.
Titles. Yeah, he's been given specific titles. They've had interactions for years. Like Mikey is the one person who's interacted with Stephen the most. So
I'm literally the reincarnation of the Greek goddess of chaos, Eris. Because I put that in my YouTube name, like it becomes literal to Stephen. So
Metatron for a while there. You were like his right hand.
I'm still the Metatron. He never demoted me, Rhonda. I'm still technically the right hand of God. You know what? That's the reason Nalon has yet to ban me from his chat, is because Stephen never technically demoted me. So I still have power over Nalon because Stephen forgot to demote me before he got thrown in the psych ward. So Nalon still... Oh, by the way, I'm sorry. I got to add one more thing.
No, you're fine.
Nalon once had a moderator who banned me from his chat So I convinced Nalon not only to unban me, but to remove the moderator powers from the guy who banned me, because if Steven wanted me banned, he would have killed me already.
Wow.
So you can convince this fucking moron of anything you want. Literally, if you were to come up with the most ridiculous idea right now, if you were to give us 3 months to, not 3 months, 3 hours to lay this shit out, we could come up with a plausible way to get him to believe
Well,
it, even though we're discussing it live on the air right now.
The way it works with Nalon is you've got to, whatever you're trying to achieve, you've got to put a twist on it where it seems
Has to lead back to the Lord.
positive to Steven. Yeah,
Right.
it has to be like coming from Steven, or it has to be something that Steven would want them to do, or it has to be. They also got this incredible desire to believe in things that would benefit Steven. So if
I'm trying to talk.
like Steven's broken out, or if it's Steven
Bring
as
your mic.
Sorry, can you hear me better now? What did you? What did you hear?
It was pretty low the
Not
whole
a-
time you were talking.
Sorry. Yeah, basically, like you've got to intertwine or whatever Steven into the story, and they've got this incredible desire for to believe in anything that it brings any benefit to Steven. So if you make them believe that like something will happen if they believe in it, and it will benefit Steven in some way whatsoever, no matter how crazy it is, they will act upon it and believe in it. It's insane.
Yeah, we actually had this plan since I recently traveled across the country to leave like packages all across different rest stops in America and have them travel to the rest stops to get the packages, but it just turned out to be too much work, so we skipped on that. But I'm pretty sure they would have gone and visited. Got the
Probably would
package.
have had fucking Homeland Security following you around and a bunch of robot bomb sniffing dogs.
By the way, I'm pretty sure they are being watched by Homeland Security, so I think we're probably safe from.
No.
Yeah. The best trolls though are when you can demonstrate that they're actually like dangerous and danger to the public.
Dude, we demonstrated that they're dangerous in December. They covered up what they thought was an actual murder for like 3 days, and like nobody gave a shit. So I'm pretty sure until somebody's actually dead, nobody's gonna do a goddamn thing about them.
Yeah, I kept trying to get people to ask if Nalon, if he was, if Lord Stephen Christ commanded him to kill, would he? And it was
He
just very
said
telling how he.
He said that he would before.
Yeah.
Like we've
well,
had
now
him on
he's
the air.
learned.
He said it.
Well, now they've learned, haven't they? They're like acting kind of differently to how they would act before. They used to be very righteous in their like death threats and stuff, whereas
Holy.
now that he's in prison.
So I know
It's
you
all
guys
changed.
are a little bit new to Steven, but like it was in June that he suddenly became pro-gay and gay-friendly, but he was very strongly anti-gay up until that sudden point. And then like when he did that, Nalon disappeared from the internet for 2 to 3 weeks, and then like suddenly came back towing the line. So I feel like Steven's
And
almost not really the
these
central
guys-
point anymore. Like their idea of Steven is probably more powerful than the actual Steven at this point.
Well, these
I
guys
feel
don't
like
know anything
Nalon's been
about
promoting
Travis.
himself. If you watch his videos
Yeah.
now, like putting himself
these-
on the camera and everybody, and just eating up any compliments
Yep.
anyone, like if he's attractive, he's
He's the new
really
Steven.
himself. Yeah, exactly.
Well,
these
it's
people-
funny because I asked him a couple of times. I said, "Well, what if Stephen, for whatever reason, does not get out or goes to prison? Wait, do you end it?" And he's like, "No. What do you mean? End
Yeah.
it?"
He'll
I'm
never
like,
end it.
"Oh, so you're just going to be the new guru?"
Well, and then watching this video, I just discovered that the entire U.S. Army is behind Steven. So.
Oh yes, totally.
Yes, Delta
Shit.
Force, go get him.
Rhonda,
Dude,
my
I
favorite.
need to. Oh fuck! I need to let my son know. Damn it!
Dude, I love when he was on video begging. Well, he was on his prison phone that was being recorded, begging the United Nations or the angels from heaven, one or the other, to come down and break him out of prison. That was 8 months ago. You can see that didn't happen, but they still believe it. They still believe it.
Well, Mikey,
no,
these
good.
people
I was
don't
gonna
know
have a
anything about.
question.
Oh, what's that?
How- I'm surprised that he has access to internet. I find that really
It's a
In
right.
prison,
Amazing.
well, in prison, it's jails and prisons are different. In prisons, you have a lot more access to things than you do like in just in a quote unquote jail.
He still has heavily restricted access, but for whatever
Yeah.
reason, they still let him on there at least like once a month. It seems like, right, Veronica? It's like at least
Yeah,
once a
it
month.
seems that every month we get a handful of
I
new
almost-
emails. I know
Tell
they
him
monitor
about that,
them.
Mikey. Tell him about that time he threatened the guards, and then the access got.
Oh yeah. No, so
Oh,
okay,
did he
so
take credit for the death of a guard?
no, so
Did
here's
he?
what happened. There was like this was I guess it was in March, I believe. He started making more videos, and then he like threatened to decapitate Elon Musk. And then he also directly threatened to kill me and used my real name and said, like, you wait till here, I'm gonna
Well,
you.
you're breaking up. You're breaking up. I think you're hitting your mic too hard or something.
Oh,
You
sorry.
broke up that.
I was doing
Yeah,
Steven.
yeah, no.
I was doing a Macho Man Steven impression.
So try it again. Try it again.
He was saying, like, when I get out of here, I'm gonna hurt you so bad. I'm gonna fuck you up, Michael. And he was using my real name. So I just called the prison and I was like, this guy is still making death threats to me. And then the next day he made a video like, oh, Mikey ratted me out. And then we didn't hear from him again for 2 months.
Right.
So I think they took his privileges away.
No, I mean the one where he threatened the actual people holding him. That was
Oh,
ridiculous.
yeah, no. He would also talk about the guards, and like he would print out these things to hand to the prisoners, and if the guards didn't take it to hand to the prisoners, he would name the guards. He named his psychiatrist. He was naming all of these people in the prison, first and last name, who were watching over him, and I reported that too. But it's like, dude, do you think that they're gonna treat you nicely when they realize you're trying to get your psychotic followers to come and murder them?
He
Like,
also talked about some guard that was mistreating him. And then the guard, I guess he hadn't seen him in a few days or weeks or whatever. And another prisoner told him that the guard died in a car accident. So he was like,
I don't
"See,
remember that.
I did that." You know?
That's so stupid. Well, how come all the other he told you to kill yourself? You're still here.
Yeah. I'm still here.
He's wished death upon all of us multiple times. We're still here.
Cursed
But
us
you know,
so many
that
times.
one random person who died, that definitely proves that he's God. Even though his worst enemies don't even seem to get a slap on the wrist. But
Hey, for your guys' enjoyment, I have a close friend who just a few years ago, got out of another cult locally here. You should read about that just for your own entertainment. It's amazing to me how these things exist on such a prolific scale. I mean, there's ones that we don't even hear about because they work so hard a lot of the time to keep themselves under the radar.
right, those are the smart ones.
Yeah.
If you're a genius, you don't want everyone to know what a jackass you are, like Steven, but you know, he doesn't have that self-awareness.
These guys, Mikey, they don't even know anything about Travis. Like, they've never seen Travis other than
Travis
the ones
scrubs
who have looked at
turds
the
off of toilet seats. That's his job. Steven gave him that job because, as we all know, Steven's God and rewarded him with that luxurious job of scrubbing dirty turds off of toilet seats.
And Steve found it very important to point out in that video, these are my sons. We don't have
they're his son wives.
Wives.
We don't have sex or anything. We're
No,
just
but
have
they
a
will
loving
now.
relationship.
That was before he accepted who she really is.
Anything Steven says, you can just turn that to mean the opposite of what he says.
Yeah, he's not very good, right? He's pretty.
Molly,
he projects everything,
think,
right, Rob? Right, Veronica?
Yeah.
Molly, I think you remember the time when I brought up the thing about Terry Baby Lone Star, and I couldn't remember it.
Oh my
too
god,
well,
he turned that into his toddler daughter. He's so creepy.
Yeah, that's what you were saying.
No,
No, I was able to talk. I found with Advocates and I both did that we sort of was nice and said, oh, what about this and that, and just sort of let him go. He seemed to be more forthcoming and
yeah. If you don't attack him,
we have to say forthcoming because we don't know what's real, true lies or whatnot.
He doesn't either.
Sort of approached it in that manner.
Rhonda,
was he always? Was Nalon always that like a scatterbrain and fast talking, or was that like developed?
No, he's always spoke weird like that. Even Steven, when I first got with him, he couldn't understand half of what Nalon said.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Nalon's legit
Okay.
weird.
Yeah.
He like that comes naturally to him. He comes by it honestly.
So did Nalon do all that research before he was actually with Steven, or was that he meets Steven, then he got all that information in his head?
You
I
know,
bet
the
Steven
concave
directed
stuff
him.
came from Steven, but like the numbers, all that weird number stuff and the way he's before Steven.
Wasn't there, Veronica? Wasn't there a conversation once about where Steven was talking to Travis about one of his fantasies about how he was going to lure in a hooker and then kill her?
Yeah, I told them about the Queen of Heaven. Yeah, I told them all about that in my interview.
Yeah, I always think that's just like Nalon and Travis
Use
are
me
still
to
walking
lure her.
around. Like they're still walking around in public, having partaken in
And
this
then they
conversation.
denied that he was just testing the waters, but
All
then
right, he was testing to see if you would tell people in the future.
he was testing to see if Travis and I would actually go through with it, and I guess Travis or
What a
Neil
weird
and I
test, right?
convinced him to just let the army do it, but that's not what happened.
So you would have passed the test if you would have been cool with the murder?
Yeah, then he probably would
Okay,
have been
all
okay,
right.
right?
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
surprised that FBI's watching these morons.
I mean, so do you believe these guys are so fervent in their beliefs that it would cross over into violence at some point?
Nalon, definitely.
Dude, I know Nalon and Travis both it was at least 48 hours. It might have been 3 days. I barely remember at this point, but it was at least for 2 days. They actively covered up what they thought was my murder. I went underground. I
Right.
stopped all social media for 2 days. I left cryptic messages before I left. They fucking ate it all up. Nalon asked to see videos and pictures of my final moments. They, without a doubt, they would at least encourage other people to engage in violence. And I believe that given the right incentive, like if they really believed that Steven had been released and that it was all going down, I am 100% sure that they would engage in violence themselves.
Definitely would.
So what snapped for both of you to finally, in a you don't have to go into the long story of it, but just what snapped for both of you to finally say, like, this is all crazy and I never have to believe anything like this again?
Michael never was a believer. He
Yeah,
always
no,
was toying with him.
I never believed it, but there was a period of time for like a year when I was like, he's trolling, like he's just kidding, like it's a joke. Because what I did was I do like a conspiracy channel, and it has like there's a bit of like an ongoing story, and I didn't know what to do, so I was like, I'm gonna say I believe the Earth is flat like 1 week. So I did it 1 week, and I got tons of views, and tons of people were like, "Oh my god, you finally see the light!" And I was like, "Oh my god, I understand Steven now. Like he's just fucking with people because it's hilarious, and like you can say anything and anyone will believe it." So like I gained a sort of respect for him, which went away when I realized that like he is not a troll. He said that he's a troll,
Right.
but he's not. He's for real. If he was a troll, he wouldn't be in prison right now. Trolls don't go to prison.
He just progressively got crazier though.
But he's
over
had
the
so many
period, didn't he?
times.
Especially the last 6 months. In the last few months that
Mikey,
I was
he's-
with him, boy, he really went off the.
Yeah, it's been a
rails.
year and a half, Rhonda, since his his true downward spiral began about a year and a half ago. Probably right before you guys started on that tour. It was before you met Nalon and Travis, but once Nalon and Travis got involved, didn't
Then
you think the
his head got so
Scientologist tried to
big.
take him out,
Yeah,
right?
with the car. Yeah, that's when he got run over by the car, and he said it was a
Yeah.
Scientologist.
He thought the Scientologist tried to take him out.
Yeah, he had the whole theory. He had even his closest followers, which were dropping off like flies.
Yeah,
you know,
even
they were
Andreas
just-
deserted him.
Yeah, then he started accusing them of being involved in the plot to kill him,
This guy had
including
followers
the
for
mother of his
years.
child. I was like,
The
oh my
way
God.
the way that you tell he's not a troll is he's had so many opportunities to either
He's ruined
take
them
different
all.
actions or not take action, or even when he's in prison, he's not even in prison, he's in like a psych ward, and they've
Yeah.
given him opportunities, and the opportunities like to speak with the outside world and stuff like that, it's just he constantly makes a mess of it and digs himself
Molly,
deeper.
Molly, you're hot micing, and it sounded like you just farted
Yeah,
into the
I
mic.
heard
I don't
that
know.
too.
I don't know what that was,
I'm
but
driving. I'm driving with the window down.
Molly,
You're
did you just hotbox?
I did not. I was going to say one thing right quickly that, it's funny that because Hermes or Nelon or whatever, he had mentioned the car, but he said it was the mafia, the Italian mafia hit him.
Their
Yeah, well,
story
that-
changes all the time.
Well, one of the guys that he included in the scheme, he was sure was Italian mafia.
Do
Just
you know who
one of
Teal
them.
Swan is? Do you guys know who Teal Swan is?
no.
Oh, she's some crazy new age cult leader. She's got like hundreds of thousands of followers. They thought Teal Swan was trying to take out Steven for a while, so they started involving her in the conspiracy. They think Teal Swan's out to get them. They think everybody. They think Donald Trump pays attention to everything that's going on with Steven. There were multiple times where Nalon thought Steven had been released from prison because he hadn't heard from him in like a couple weeks. So he thought Steven was driving around with Trump in like a limousine, like visiting all these places and making sure his acolytes were doing their job. Like he
Well,
literally,
I
if
showed-
we could convince
I
him right
showed-
now that Steven's been released from prison, like at this very moment, we could convince him.
Well, we've done that before, I think.
Yeah,
for
we
a
have.
couple of hours.
Yeah.
But I showed them. Because Nayland was not very well representing the death threat. He said it wasn't a death threat, which was the
It was,
funniest
though.
thing. And then, but yeah, like they saw the video, but you can maybe give a bit of context to like the events up to him making the video, and that's what I mean by he's
Well,
had
which
so many
one?
chances. Well, just I don't know, the couple of days before and the stuff he was saying, and the fact that he's had so many chances to not take those actions, and he went to prison for it before, all that sort of stuff.
Well, Steven definitely, he went to prison the second time, the same reason he went to prison the first time. Because he really believed that he was God, and he thought he was going to prove that he was God by doing the most illegal thing that he could think of, which was threatening to kill the president, which he thought that the CIA and the FBI would be like, well, we can't imprison you because you're the true Messiah, so we definitely can't do it. So he not only did that fail the first time, Steven is so delusional and insane that he did it a second time, which resulted in not only the same punishment, but in fact a worse punishment. Steven got 3 years the first time. He hasn't even been sentenced yet because he's too insane to sentence. He can't be charged yet. He's too mentally ill. So
this could be a repeating cycle that goes on for a long time.
No, I'm telling you right now, Steven's gonna die.
Never getting out.
He's gonna die in that psych ward. He's never getting out. Every time he's given a chance, we see one of those letters, and he says, like, I'm gonna kill all of these people, but I'm still, like, a woman. I'm a woman now. I'm the most beautiful goddess. It's like the psychiatrists are not seeing those letters and going, this is a guy who we need to allow to be sentenced. That's not
Like
happening.
right now, he's pretending to be loving and forgiving, and give him a few months, and the script he'll flip it again, and he'll be
Rhonda,
threatening to
he'll
decapitate
snap.
everyone.
He'll switch it up, and like once what he's doing is not working long enough, he'll switch back to the threats and the fear and the decapitations and the violent guillotine. That's just how he is. He can't help it. He is mentally ill. Maybe the chemicals seeped into his brain when he got that permit 19, which drove him permanently insane. I don't really know, but he's never getting out of it. And his followers, like Nalon, like the best thing for Nalon is that Steven never gets out of prison. Because when Steven does get out of prison, then Steven's the guy in charge again. But now that Nalon's in charge, Nalon's got more power than he's ever had in his life. Even though he's like in charge of a retarded cult that only 2 people are in charge of, like, he's still like, that's his most powerful thing he's ever had. So I don't expect Nalon to give it up. And I think Steven being released from prison would be more likely to result in Nalon defecting, honestly.
Well, all that this ultimately means is that Nalon is on the same exact path that Steven's on. Something's going to happen. Unless he's got that little bit of shrewdness in him where he's like, I see what Steven did to get himself in trouble. I'm going to do all this, but maybe I won't do that and I'll be able to stay out. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that would
possible.
be really curious.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to see
No,
if he's
it's
got
not possible, Mikey. Remember all the shit that they fell for? Like, talk about the live stream.
Dude,
and how
we were going to
people in chat were
incorporate
telling
clones.
them...
We were about to incorporate clones.
Like, remember when people in chat were telling them that I was about to brick their PC and they still allowed me onto it?
Yeah.
Like, they're so stupid. Talk about like that live stream.
And it's
or
so
whatever,
nice that you didn't break their PC. Because they totally gave you complete and 100% access to everything that was going on their fucking computer.
Yeah. But no, they're
So
with
what
some
happened
things
with
they're
that was
just stupid. They've got no common sense. He's
it's
got
like
like a memory bank.
there
But...
were two times that we like fucked them, we sodomized them basically. The first time was where they put us on their live stream thinking that they were about to reveal a bunch of like dirt about me and like secret videos of me. And then the video just turned out to be me saying like, "Oh, hey, I'm on your stream. You guys are a bunch of fucking morons. You gave someone your fucking computer access key, and now we're all on your network. You can't do anything, blah, 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 blah." So that was the first one. Then the second one was where I convinced them I was dead. We're still working on a part 3, but like they literally, I swear to God, we could say, like, we could detail 100% any plan right now. We could detail it and 100%, and we could still get them to believe it because they are just that out of it. Even if you like were to convince, like, if you read them the whole plan out loud at first and then executed the plan, they would think you read them the plan as a test from Steven to see if they would follow through. Like, that's how fucking whacked out they are. You can convince them of anything. That's why I know that they're a danger to society, because Steven could convince them to come kill me or fucking Veronica or Addison or anybody. Like, you know, whatever he tells them to do, I'm pretty sure that, like, they'll do.
So
or at
how do
least
these
attempt
guys?
to.
How do these guys fund themselves? How do they keep their lives going? Do they just have regular jobs? I mean, what do they? What is their regular? What does the rest of their life look like?
Well, Travis
yeah,
has a job, right, Addison? But Nalon doesn't have a job. In
Yeah,
fact,
well-
we got Nalon to quit his last legitimate job, right?
He quit during
Yeah.
the last hoax.
He showed his
Yeah.
boss the text that we were sending him as the Ukrainian operatives and walked out of his job, and he's never had a real job
He
since.
was waiting to get picked up the next
Yeah.
day.
Oh my God,
Before
that sounds
he
like
was
it. Sounds like The Office. What they did to Dwight Schrute. when they-
Yeah,
We
something like
told him
that.
a bunch of hot Russian and Ukrainian women were waiting to accept their seed in the underground bunkers in
Oh,
Russia.
Dude, you're busting up your mic. Your
Your
poor
mic
microphone
might be-
cannot take your high energy.
They believed it. I'm sorry. I'll keep
It's
it low
okay.
energy. They believed it. They thought
yeah,
all the
Travis-
hot Russian women wanted their seed to have babies with.
Yeah, at the moment, the commandment is actually that Travis is the one that does all the working, and I think you're the
Right.
one that found out he like scrubs toilets
Because he
for a
can't
living,
take the butt
and then,
sex, right? Well, he told us, didn't you? Were talking
yeah.
to him once. You were talking to him with a fake voice, and you got him to admit that it wasn't very nice and to kill me, and he was sorry.
Oh
and
yeah,
he
he
was
said
ashamed,
sorry.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was
Yeah, he said
ashamed.
sorry. Yeah, that was pretty. But yeah, well, the next
I
day,
bet they
though,
feel
like,
really weird
Steven-
about all their right now.
Well, the
That's
next
probably
day,
a pretty
Steven
weird
beat that
subject.
out of them. So
So is Nalon confirmed like sex relationship with Steven or no?
No, they never. They never had sex.
No,
So far
not
as
like
we
an
know.
actual one, but that's what the plan is. That
Yeah,
they've
they're
now
gonna
admitted
have
that that
sex
is the plan.
now. Nalon wants Steve's tiny closeted wiener. Right, Rhonda? I mean, yeah, it's pretty small. It's a tiny schlonger.
Are you saying
Yes.
this entire cult is a result of little penis?
Dude, there's two
Yeah.
people. There's two
I think
people
that
in
might
this
be
cult.
How do you know the size?
Because I saw it.
Yeah, Rhonda saw it.
How thick is it?
It's not very
It's
thick,
not
right,
very thick.
Rhonda?
No, no.
And not very
You can
It's not
you
thick.
can explain all of his mental neuroses by just looking at his wiener, right?
He's
Or
not
was it-
circumcised either.
Oh, ew.
If he was circumcised, it would be
Dude,
really,
it's a tiny,
really
cheesy wiener. Who the hell would want that? Except
It's not a.
Nalon.
It's not a very worthy of worship wiener, is what you're saying.
Of course
good.
not.
No, not at all.
Wow.
You would think God would give himself the most hottest, perfect wiener. but
Veronica,
it's not,
your
right?
inbox is about to be
Fall out.
bombarded with dick pics.
Oh, you better be careful.
Well, I don't know. You seem like you know about us. I just want to get what you thought about mine. Like, what do you think,
I'm sure
man?
Rhonda will say most of them are better than Steve's.
I've got
Seems
a
like
godly
Steven-
wiener.
Yeah. You guys know about Mario the Vigilantly Christian? He's part of the Godly Bros. No.
Yeah, he got kicked out of rehab recently.
For doing steroids. What a funny reason to be kicked out of rehab.
Oh, Tasteless Opinion is here. Tasteless Opinion, we're ready for you to take the contrarian position. Go ahead.
Oh gosh, is he gonna defend Steven?
Yeah. No.
No.
I actually was wondering. You know, guys, let me ask you something.
Let me ask you something.
Oh
This
boy.
guy,
Oh, really?
Hermes.
All right, thank you a lot,
That's right,
Tasteless. Thank you
Hermes?
for your input.
You guys, you know, okay, he was the one who showed the Russian thing and whatnot, and he's not able to get a job, right? Don't you feel bad for it?
Which one?
No,
Who?
because of the shit he said to us.
I'm talking about Hermes.
I don't feel bad for Nailon. Fuck him. I hope he
No.
dies in a box. I hope he dies in a
Jesus, can
cardboard box.
Yeah,
No
man.
one
Chase,
told him
can
to
you
quit
believe
his
he's trying
job.
manipulating this poor dumb guy?
The
Someone
shit
told
that
him to
he's
quit his
not a poor
job.
dumb guy. First of all,
He
was
deserves to
dangerous.
be
The main
manipulated.
Omni, I don't
listen,
believe you.
Listen,
I believe
the
I
main
think about Nailon.
You think
the
I
main
you think
aim
I like
of the
Nailon?
That's why you hate him so much.
Yeah, you think I want his? I'll tell you guys, he has phimosis, which means he has a tiny, cracked, uncircumcised foreskin because he doesn't bathe regularly. I know, because I had someone catfish some dick pics out of him. He's got a gross wiener. I just want you guys to know. Nailon's
Tasteless,
penis
would
is
you like
nasty.
Tasteless? Would you like to try again? Tasteless, would you like to?
I mean, can I
Well,
see
no,
your
I
wiener?
was just curious about that.
No,
To
my
answer
penis is
Tasteless,
glorious, and you don't
Tasteless.
deserve to see my glorious wiener.
Tasteless.
I have to kill
To
at
answer
least
you,
4 people for that.
I have a Thor
Tasteless.
cock.
To answer you, no, right? Because he's said so much shit, and the main aim of those trolls were to not to get him fired or anything like that. He actually showed we didn't. If you remember, Mike,
We didn't even know he had
show
it.
his.
Yeah. Dude, no
Yeah,
one
we
said
didn't
to
tell him to show his boss.
his fucking boss.
The main aim of the trolls were to show that he was a danger to the public, which he
and
was.
he proved it. He proved that he
Yeah.
would cover up him. So we proved it. Not that
And
the
he's
CIA
the amount
cared,
of horrendous shit that he said to us and threats that he'd said to us. Like, no, we don't feel bad that he.
Yeah, and you guys have no idea. Travis probably fucking masturbated to the thought of my being beaten to death by Ukrainian. Like, he was so happy at the thought that I was killed by a Ukrainian Steven
Show the
worshiper.
video of me. It
So
is
no-
a great video of
Oh,
you
well.
when you infiltrated. Like it was
There was-
fucking.
Well, it's
like
quite
it
a
was
long
from
one,
coming
isn't
from
it?
a movie, man. You seem like a
Well.
fucking billion there. Yeah, show the video.
The
so
video
people
of me
can see.
beating myself with makeup on.
No. The fuck, dude. The one that you infiltrated their live stream.
Yeah. So that was the first one, and then the second one, Travis thought he was talking to Vladimir Putin, and when I started talking to him, his eyes start twitching, like he's like, "Wait, is this really happening? What's going on? What's going on?" But let me find the first one here. Is Travis?
Yeah,
and,
show the video.
Travis Nailon hijack.
Yeah, you got to remember, like at this point, we didn't realize if they were like really serious or not, right? So like when we're doing our first initial trolls, like just sort of taking over the live stream, making themselves look dumb, it was more because like they were just sort of we couldn't figure out if they were trolling or not. And then when we figured out that they were actually serious and dangerous, that's when we started doing the trolls aimed more towards showing that rather than just taking the piss out of them.
Yeah, we were discussing.
You cut out, Mikey.
We were discussing our third of this act, which we will perpetrate, even though we are discussing it live on the air now. Because they're so stupid.
Your mic's still cutting out, but yeah,
whatever.
we've told them what we're gonna do before, just to see if they would fall for it, and they do.
All right, here's the link to the first one where, with Addison's help, we hijacked our stream.
So the context around that one is I was talking to them for a couple of days as some sort of secret undercover person. Mikey had been an adversary of Stephen Christ for quite a while at this point, and so they really wanted to show him up, get rid of him. And I convinced them that I had some sort of secret information, and if only they gave me access to their PC, I could stream that information over the top of their live stream for them. And so I also like made them not suspicious when they saw it was a video of Mikey. I said basically, like, this is a video of Mikey and something really, really bad against Mikey is going to be in this video. This is a video Mikey doesn't want to get out there. And so with that in mind, they gave me full access to their PC. And that's
Dude, they were giving you access keys and like all kinds of shit so you could access their computer. It was so fucking crazy. You really could have break their computer if you wanted to.
Yeah. Yeah, I could have just put a sys key on in about 10 seconds and it would have stopped them ever logging into that machine again. And then there was a second one where we convinced them, because they've got this constant hope that Lord Stephen Christ is going to be acknowledged by some world power or some world leader. And so we convinced them that it was Vladimir Putin that was going to do it. And
Any
so
day
we had all
now.
these, like, yeah, any day now. Yeah, we just convinced them Vladimir Putin was going to.
It was
speak to them.
funny to see how like quickly they were into treason. Like they were all about treason, like immediately.
Yeah. There's this weird thing that like if they have a desire for something so badly they're willing to believe it, and that's kind of dangerous sometimes, you know.
It's dangerous to believe in a concave Earth.
It's more just the stuff that are like the implications of like.
It's dangerous to
like
believe that
Stephen...
Stephen Christ is God. That's definitely a dangerous thought to have.
Well, aren't there thousands of people who believe people are God on Earth? Like, what's this?
Yeah, but
one
most
thing-
people who believe that someone, like, they pick someone like less retarded than Stephen.
Like if
So-
Stephen told them to like kill their own, like do a whole Abraham thing.
But has
like,
he?
They would do it. He's told them from jail to like prepare for the apocalypse and start looking into how to kill people and stuff like that.
Like the
Yeah.
Punisher in a way, like that movie.
I can't remember that.
Stephen likes that Punisher movie.
We should introduce him to Von Houten.
No, the Punisher is one of Steve's favorite things. The day before he got arrested, he found a Punisher keychain on the beach.
Oh,
and he
yeah.
made a whole video about how like it was, which is just so funny because he literally arrested today. But Steven's obsessed with the Punisher. He thinks that he's here to punish everyone who doesn't. He's not like a narcissist who attaches himself to other concepts. Steven literally believes the only reason he's God is because he's special. So, like, if you want to understand, you just have to understand that Steven thinks that his mediocrity is the most amazing thing that ever happened in existence.
We have a person named Von Houten who says he is the Punisher.
Isn't Von Houten dead? Didn't he just die today?
No! Curse you! No, my Von Houten is not dead.
Oh, too bad.
What? No! Stop! Not nice.
What about Joan Osborne? She sings about God being one of us. So
I'm sure she wasn't thinking about Steven when she
you
wrote
never know. I don't know.
Oh yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
Stephen says she was.
I bet money on it.
Steven's got this
Stephen thinks
crazy
that
thing
song's
with
about
songs, right? Yeah, and
there's
like
there's
their
a
prayer sessions.
Who's gonna claim the Godhead?
There's a channel on Steven's Discord server, Hazeus, called Steve Songs, and they just post songs by like the Beatles, and they go, "Good job, Steve." It's like Steve didn't write that. You Ron, fucking Beatles wrote, you idiot. But they just post the songs and they act like Steve wrote them.
That's fucking insane.
It is really insane. But to be fair, the only two people who actually believe Steve is God are Thomas and Elon, and everyone else. We could all just keep that in mind and make us.
Mikey, you need to do that thing with your mic because it's cutting in and out.
I always say, if someone wants to say they're God, I let them think they're God.
Why not, right? Well, I think I'm about to go. Get out. I'm drunk. I'm gonna leave. It's nice talking to you. I'll answer questions in the future. I'm gonna go.
Night, Michael.
Thanks for stopping in.
Nighty night.
Catch you
Hell
later,
Satan.
Mikey.
Fuck Steven. I hope Steven dies in prison. Which he will. It's all good.
Catch you later, Mikey.
Those who curse you.
Adios.
So Veronica,
Yes.
what was the moment for you? I asked this question earlier, and he says, since he says that he never believed it and he was just doing it for the shits and giggles. At what point for you did it finally click for you that, like, what the hell am I doing? I have got to get away from this. What of it? What was that moment for you?
Because when he was living with me and just observing his behavior in person and the way he treated the mother of his child, just his behavior in general was just watching how, we were just talking about how he thinks every song is written about him. He would just focus on something and just get stuck like in a song and trying to figure out how this fits into my plan. It was just driving me crazy. I think like I told everybody, probably more my attraction in the beginning, and I think in my mind I always knew that there was something wrong with my thinking, and how long was I going to continue on with this? But I guess I was just so determined to get with him. And then once I did, and I realized the mistake that I made and how I had to get out of this situation. But yeah, it took me to actually live with him and observe him on a daily basis. Like,
So here's a tougher question then, maybe. Do you ever see yourself getting into this kind of situation again, or do you feel that now you aren't looking for that kind of thing in your life, like you don't need to believe that kind of thing, or do you feel like you're still susceptible to it?
I don't think I'm susceptible to it. I'm not looking for anything like that in my life. I'm, trust in somebody else. I guess at the time when I did start following him, I was transitioning in my life too. I guess there was something I was looking for, and I found. But I think I've just grown a lot. Process. Of course, I never thought that I would be in a cult. So.
Would you
in
say
the
it was
first
more?
place.
So would you say it was a mixture of like looking? Hey, Molly, your hot mic again. I'm making a lot of noise, sweetie.
All right, sorry.
It's all right. Would you say it was a combination of both a searching spiritually kind of, and also which was it more, the romantic or the spiritual? Do you think that
I think
drew you
it was
in?
a combination, because I think I did quite often. I did hear a little voice in my head telling me that what I was doing was ridiculous and believing he was God. But I was in search of that. When I first met him, I was doing a lot of soul searching and Bible and looking for answers. But also at the same time, I guess I saw him as a romantic possibility. So it was a combination of the two, actually. Yeah.
When he's obviously got he's obviously got a strong personality. I mean, an overbearingly strong personality, which could, be very easy for a person to fall under that spell too. So
Did, but then once I got with him, I realized I was much stronger than I thought I was. Strong enough to break that. I don't mean that. I don't know.
So where are you at with your beliefs nowadays after all that?
I mean, I know there's a God. I mean, I believe there's a God, but I'm not searching for him, and I'm really not searching for any answers at this point.
Well, that's cool.
Just
That's a good
feel
answer.
like taking care of my new home. And yeah, just battery online, not looking for strong connections. Just easy, I guess you'd say.
Veronica, what is an overbearing personality? I'm trying to comprehend Steve.
Well, control every aspect of my life, like as far as even just my haircut and how he wanted me to dress and what I should connect with the people in his group. Like if I suggest that I do things, said, well, I don't want to make you do that, but if you could just maybe make a video about this, telling people, promoting me,
And were there times when you wouldn't make the video and there was consequences for these actions?
No, because I always did what he wanted. So
Were there instances in
felt
which
it
you
was
didn't do what he asked, and then there was like violence or something, or some type?
no, he was never violent with me. And the worst I saw him was the day that I left when he was screaming at me and spitting. I mean, maybe it could have become violent, but I never fought with him. I know Nayland seems to think we fought a lot and that I actually stood up to him and told him he wasn't God, but that's not even the case. I just kind of went along with him. I engaged him in his beliefs and knowing I was just biding my time, that eventually that when he finally got his money and I knew that we would eventually part ways. I didn't know exactly how permanent that break would be. I wanted it to be permanent, so I wanted it to be something major, him away from me. But no, I just kind of went along with him instead of, I wasn't going to get him upset because I just really didn't know. When you're dealing with someone that's crazy like that, you just don't really know how they might act. So I heard some stories from his ex. I thought maybe she exaggerated them at the time about how he behaved, like when he wanted her to go to Italy with him and she refused to go because obviously they didn't have anywhere to live and they had a baby, so she refused to go. And she just said that, he didn't get violent, but he was shaking. He was shaking in anger. So just he might have had a tendency towards it. He always claimed that his first wife beat him, but realized later that obviously I wasn't getting all the information. It was probably going both ways. They were probably hitting each other. So I didn't
Okay,
see
well,
the violence.
I just don't get, because honestly, I seen some of Steve's videos, and I seen some of Nayland's videos, and I mean, I don't really see anything violent, so I don't know. Like you're saying, he's awful and that he's forced you, but I don't. But it's saying that you did it on your own accord and stuff. So I'm just
What did
trying.
I say forced me to do? I didn't say forced me to do
Well,
anything.
you said he would coerce you in like a passive aggressive.
Coerce, you mean? He would coerce.
Coerce?
Yes, thank you
Yeah.
for correcting me.
Like I said, I just went along with him. I really didn't do anything that was extraordinary, weird, or that was going to hurt me, embarrass me to do these videos. But there was nothing that was that crazy.
Well, because I seen one where you're telling telling people to bow down to Steve, and I don't know.
Exactly.
Did he make you do that? Like,
No, he never made me do anything. And when I made videos for him before we got together, I did that on my own, of my own will, because I was trying to impress him. And in my weird that I had with not really, if I believed him 100%, I don't think I ever believed 100% was God, but I always found ways to my following him. So I did make videos, and thank goodness that channel was removed. I'm so glad.
The thing is, they have they've been punished like from Naylan and Travis had been punished from Steve for not following his commands. Like one of the ones I can remember is they get given titles and allowed to do stuff basically with each title. Like they're allowed a bit more freedom, I guess. And they didn't read out an email, or they didn't send an email to the people they were supposed to send it to, and so they had their titles removed. But basically, it just means that they got less freedom. They weren't allowed to do stuff as much, and it made their
You know, he
impacted
did
their
threaten
life.
to go online and humiliate me if I didn't, if I was being disobedient when he felt towards the end. And I would just kind of roll my eyes at him and say, fuck you, you know, something you don't say to God. You know, even Travis thought that I was totally disobedient. So he would just threaten to make a video to shame me.
Shame.
Well, I
Yeah.
remember hearing this happen after a dog bit you or something.
A dog bit me on the beach. Yeah. That he felt that the dog bit me because I was disobedient, and that was just a way that
A spiritual manifestation.
yeah, exactly. Indirectly, he caused that to happen to me. You know, that happened because I was disobedient.
How do you guys keep track of Hermes? Are you constantly googling it? Like you seem to know where he pops his head up all the time.
Yeah, well, there's like a little group of us, I guess. So like,
Yeah.
I'll pop in every now and again and let the other people know, and they'll just let the other people know in the group when they're keeping track of him. So there's usually just one person.
It's usually just Naylan that's making
looking
videos,
at it.
and
Yeah.
Um,
but
Like
I
every
hadn't
6
even really
months,
been
I'll
on his
check up on what he's
Discord
doing
channel up
for
until
a month.
today.
Oh, I noticed that. How often does Nylon have contact or get emails from Stephen?
It used to be
It's
quite
hard to
often,
say.
but now it's it used to be daily at one point.
Yeah.
But
I'm just
yeah, it's
amazed
like
that he used the internet to threaten
it's
the president
incredible.
and that he has access to the internet. That's just
It's
amazing
incredible.
to me.
Yeah.
So do you guys
Specifically,
follow him? Go ahead.
Oh, just really quick. Specifically in communication with the people who are going to make him more crazy, his followers. They're the
Yeah.
only people he contacts. Yeah.
I mean, I would think that that would just be, you know, if he's in therapy and they're trying to work with him, and then they're allowing him to contact people that are going to help him just, you know, continue and encourage this delusion is amazing.
I'm sure he's looking for people in there to follow him too. He's always on the hunt for new followers. So even if Naylan and Travis didn't have contact with him, he would find somebody in that prison to buy into his shit.
Do
But
you
yeah,
follow
it's
him
not.
around for the lols? Like you're entertained by this, or is this like a
So
moral duty?
yeah, at first it
More
was
for
for
the
lols.
lulz.
Yeah, well, at first, yeah, that's how it was for me. But like nowadays, it's more after he did like after we did the troll with the pretending Michael was dead. A lot of weird stuff came out in that. Like I realized like these guys are actually dangerous. And if you see the actual text that they sent, I know we just keep saying, oh, these guys are dangerous. But if you see the text that they sent, you'd be like, oh shit, okay. And the fact that like nowadays they're not really talking about like the beheadings and what's going to happen in the end times
No,
and how much they
he
hope
did
for it.
not want to talk about those
Right.
at all. He kept
Exactly.
saying, no, Stephen would not make me do something like
Yeah.
that and whatnot.
Well,
And I tried.
that's completely switched around, and there was months and months where that's all they were talking about, and especially at that point, it was kind of like these guys need sort of checking up on. Just
Well, honestly,
because
in
of
regards
like
to any cults, they're always saying that there'll be some end and people will be dying. So I mean, it's just kind of nothing new. I don't know what's so dangerous. I mean, maybe we should show these texts so we can see for ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, Michael's got the link to that. It's in a long live stream, so you'd have to sort of skip
Okay,
through it.
just
I
if I want to
guess.
just link
But,
it, I'll definitely take a look.
I don't know where it. Michael's the one with the copy to that. So next time he jumps in, if you wanna, or DM him, he's on the server list here. Just ask him for it. He'll send it you.
I'm surprised. I don't understand how you don't see that this. I mean, if you
Right.
just, I don't know, read the news and stuff, you see that these cults can turn violent or dangerous. I
Not
don't
really
know why you.
dangerous
So,
with just a couple of followers, but if he builds a following, it could become dangerous.
well, no, but see, but then again, it only takes one person that's willing to do
True.
what that
That's
person is
true.
saying. So, it's not like
Nalon
yes,
now
it
will
becomes.
completely deny it, but he has admitted multiple times that he would kill people, or he would cause harm to people, or he would attack people. Like we got him to list off, make sure he got the check mark of him saying each of these things, and it's like, yep, he just kept going down all the way up to kill somebody. It's like, what the fuck, dude? Yeah. I mean, like, if somebody's telling you they would kill somebody if their god told them to, like, you gotta kind of take it on face value. Like, that's pretty dangerous.
Well, I heard the one conversation now, and he said that Steve's never asked him to do
That's
any
a
of this stuff,
lie.
so he hasn't
That's
tried it.
no, that's a lie. That's a complete lie. I've
Okay,
got
well,
video.
that's what he said. I'm just going off.
Or there is video of Nail on live stream saying it multiple times.
He's told a
Reading out
lot of
letters from
lies.
Stephen. Reading out letters from Stephen with these commands in. It's.
I don't know
just
how
a
you think
lie.
it's so far fetched when Stephen himself is talking about beheading the president, cutting their head off and whatnot. That it's not something that.
He's not the only one. Look at the comedian that did that.
Oh
Nothing
my
happened.
gosh. I don't know why you're being so obtuse about this.
I'm not being obtuse. I'm making correlations. Like, she didn't get in trouble. She didn't get thrown in prison.
Yeah, leftards
Why
are,
Steve
are
so
the worst.
special?
Well, then I guess they feel that Steven's dangerous.
Yeah, you kind of have to, like, I guess, watch the saga in order to really
Well,
get a
I've
sense
been a
of what
part of the
Stephen is
saga for
like.
4 years. I've known Steve and Nalon for a while.
Who's talking here?
Is this Ken?
I'm Ken,
Yeah, you're a follower, aren't you?
follower.
I mean, it seems to me from the comments that I've read that you're pretty much a Stephen Curry's follower.
Are you a psycho Stephen follower, buddy?
Oh, so that all
I
makes
am what you
sense
say I am.
now.
What does that mean?
Yeah,
Are
it
you
makes
memeing?
sense now,
It
huh?
means yes.
Yeah,
It
it
means
does
yes.
make absolute sense.
Why?
Yeah, it's starting to make sense now.
Why?
Because it's exciting.
Yeah, sure, buddy.
Oh. So do you think he's actually Christ?
There are many Christs.
There are many.
Explain that.
Okay, that's a very
So what was it, man? Was it
He's
the hat?
the only Christ.
What was it like?
Was it the hat?
What was it? I mean,
It's the
yeah.
pecs. What are you talking about?
Was
Oh,
it,
the
was it the
pecs.
fact that he
arms.
looks like a
It's so-
meth head? Like,
Jesus,
Was
man.
it all
So
the
you're talking
failed
about?
predictions?
Is there like a homosexual, inclination, or those there? I mean, what is it about? Tell us, man. Why do you follow? Do you like him? Like him? Like him?
are you gay?
Are you?
I'm bisexual.
Yeah.
So you do like him?
Attracted to Nayland, aren't you?
Yeah, it is like a psychosexual thing going on here.
Yeah.
I mean, if you guys want to say that, if that's what you want to associate.
Well, maybe it is the hat.
Seems like
I mean,
can get
I
the entrance.
asked. I want to be
It's-
charitable. What is it?
It's not sexual. It's love for a man. That's all.
But
it is.
you-
It's
do you
so
think
it is
he is a D?
psychosexual.
Like,
Well, give me an example of psychosexuality, please.
Well, man, can I be heard? Can you hear me? Okay.
Be as
so
honest as you wish.
sometimes, man, sometimes men will go into this bro crushes. Like you see a person, you admire him, and the admiration is so big, and when he acknowledges you, you feel like, oh, it's something special, right? So it is like both a need for, to believe in this person, because that is the source of you feeling special, like you being around someone that is special. Did you saw in Seinfeld, man, there was a time where Judge Costanza was, like infatuated with this dude. Like he was a cool dude, and he, was going to do anything he wanted. Remember that? I don't know if you saw that, but that was so funny. So it
No,
is
I
kind
never
of
really
like that.
watched Seinfeld. I don't
Ah,
subscribe
you
to
should,
Seinfeld.
man. That is
Um,
great. Like Tony was this guy, right? He was very cool, and everyone wanted to be around Tony and whatnot. So it's kind of a psychosexual thing. I mean, I understand.
No,
Tasteless was
it's
more
brotherly
devastated.
love. If you understand what it takes to love a brother
I
unconditionally,
love many brothers,
you will
but
be
that
there.
doesn't
You
mean I
think
believe
that
they're
your brother
God.
is a deity?
Yeah, man. Come on.
We're all gods. If you're not,
Well,
God,
yeah.
Not
See,
an
that,
answer. That's a non-answer.
Wow.
no, I agree with you. To a certain extent, we are, if we manage the fractal. But then again, I mean, that is just like a reference. It is like the actual, right?
it's
Maybe
the truth.
you
You're a
think it is.
spark. You're a thought of
I
God.
understand.
God thought you into the being and the thing you
Am
are
I
today.
a thought of Steven? Come on, man.
A thought of Steve?
Yeah.
What is Steve? He's just the
Well,
thought too. We're all
Steve
the
is just
part
a
of the.
brother, a crazy brother, right? Like looks like a truck.
I think
I
you've been
love my
talking to Nalon too
And
much, buddy.
some people find him cool for some reason. I don't know.
You should love your brothers unconditionally, and if you
I
don't
love
love
you,
a
dude.
brother, you're condemned. I love you too, dude. That felt.
Nice.
So you're saying things, but you're not saying things.
What does that mean? Are you trying to take away my words?
Yes, they're mine now.
Then fuck you.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Don't be uncharitable to this dude. I mean, this is not a bad dude.
You're
This
you're giving him
dude,
too much, Tasteless. He's
no,
rambling. He's
no,
babbling.
dude. Listen, man. He believes in these things for some reason, but he's not a bad person. That doesn't mean he's bad. I mean, I am trying to find out when this happened, how this happened, and the inclination of the persons around them. It is just amazing to me, right? That doesn't mean he's a bad.
Hey, Tasteless, we just have a couple of questions for Fighter, real quick. Fighter, your name's Ken?
Yes.
So you believe in the concave Earth, correct?
It makes a lot of plausible sense to me, yeah. But
What
I'm
are
still,
what are the galaxies in the sky? Do you know what those are?
Well, supposedly they're gas, nebulas and constellations and stars and everything from the Big Bang. That's what NASA.
Okay, well then I don't believe that you're I don't believe you're a concave earther, because that's not the answer you should have given.
Well, he said supposedly, right? He thought you were asking him what the
Okay, so
scientific
I'll
one
say
said.
what are they then? According to the concave Earth theory, what are they?
We're living in a glass shell, and in the middle is like the mirror, and we're living inside the Earth in this.
What are the
pyramid.
no? What I was asking is, what are the galaxies in the sky? What are they? Those things that we see as galaxies.
In the concave Earth model?
Yes.
I'm not entirely sure. Can you tell me?
Where is the concave?
I can tell you, which I just learned about a week ago, which tells me you're a troll.
This guy is 100% a troll. I don't even
100%
know
troll.
if it's this Ken
100%
guy.
troll.
I think he's just using the fact that Veronica said, "Is this Ken?" and he's just gone, "Yeah."
Yeah, I found this out a week. Not even a week ago. It was a few days ago from Hermes. I found out what that is, and if you are a true follower of Stephen Christ and of the concave, you would
If
know
he was
that.
a true follower of Lord Stephen Christ, he would never say that Steve is a thought in God's mind.
Right.
Never. Day one, you learn that we're all thoughts in Stephen's.
Sorry to bust you out like that, bro. Sorry.
All right, what's up?
No, you can.
Hermes.
Hermes.
Hey,
finally,
how you doing,
what's up,
man?
my friend? Is Fighter a follower? He's like a brother. Like he's like.
Fighter will be
how do you
trolling
call?
Nalon as well, probably.
How do you call the flock, man? The people in the flock.
No, tasteless. Fighter is a troll. We've already established that.
No,
he's a
but maybe
troll. He's not a
Hermes can corroborate.
If he does, then he's trolling Nalon as well. Okay.
No, I've known Ken for like a couple years. Like he's just not
as balls deep as you.
scientifically literate about like what exactly spiral galaxies are.
Oh,
Right,
so
okay.
he's just in for the psychosexual.
He's just
inclination,
attracted
I
to you,
understand.
Nayland. He doesn't really care about the concave
Okay,
Earth.
okay, well then,
Day one in your cult, Nayland, you learn that we're all thoughts in Stephen's mind, not that Stephen is a thought in God's mind. So how has he got that wrong?
Well, Stephen is God, so Stephen's own thoughts are in his own mind. So it's
Oh Jesus.
Still
Okay.
kind of
Well. Okay. Let this guy keep trolling you then, Naylan,
Okay,
because
all
he's
right, all right.
obviously trolling you as well.
Anyways, to answer a spiral galaxy, it's a drain hole in the glass shell, which he mentioned.
Yes,
So
I
he
knew that.
mentioned
There you go.
gas,
So you're just saying things that
dust, sand, gas inside of a celestial ocean. So
I
let's
knew
not be
that. I knew
obtuse.
that.
But Hermes, he was actually answering. He said supposedly, and then proceeded to answer in the heliocentric model. He didn't say that it was gas in the context of the Hollow Earth model.
Right.
No.
Nobody gives a fuck.
Nobody gives a fuck about the particulars of concave Earth theory.
You guys
Believe
don't?
doesn't. So you can believe in the
Oh,
heliocentric.
Shiva.
I can believe in concave. What is your? Why is this such an issue for you guys? Because he's dangerous. What's so dangerous
troll.
about this?
That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah, I
Why do
don't
you
want to
care? Why do
answer
you care? Why do you care about the particulars of the beliefs that I'm pretending to hold? You don't even believe in them.
You never even share your beliefs, so what does it matter?
Never.
Why are you encouraging Naylan to believe this?
I let people believe in whatever they want to believe in.
You're
I don't try to
stupid. Shut
change
up.
people's minds.
Even if they currently believe that their God had commanded them to do something horrific.
Yeah, happens all the time.
So wait, how long?
That's
have
Does that
we
make it
been-
right?
Why don't you take on Islam next?
Does that make it right?
How long have we been doing this? Like, what is? I imagine you guys have been having a
Today,
lot
you
of
mean?
fun. What's going on?
Today, you mean?
What's up, Veronica? What's up, Addison?
Naylan?
Hey.
Michael was here
Hey,
earlier.
Mikey was in there a bit earlier, Naylan.
Oh yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
defending
fun.
Naylan's belief. I believe he can believe in whatever he wants to believe in.
Everyone believes he can believe it.
No, he can't. He's dangerous.
No, no one believes that he can't believe it.
may.
Because if he
No
can't
one believes
believe
that
what he
he's
does believe, that
incapable.
would be a
So why would you
Yeah, no one believes-
stigmatize?
There's a
this
difference
man? You
between
don't even
being
know.
We're saying he
incapable
ought
of
not
believing
believe
it. There's the difference between being incapable of believing it and recognizing that some beliefs are dangerous and encouraging others not to hold them anymore and act on them.
So the concave Earth theory is dangerous.
No, we've never said that the concave Earth theory is
But
dangerous.
that's
We've said
Steve's
that
message.
Naylan
That's his
and
primary
Steve-
message.
No,
It's not his
Steve's
entire
primary
message.
message.
He uses
Steve's
the
primary
concave
message-
Earth theory to boost himself as God.
Steve's goal is about Zion and bringing about a new
rule the
Earth and all this
world.
shit.
Well, that's basic Torah. So that's Hebrew beliefs about.
Does that make any difference? What
It's
you
just a
just
non-
said.
That's a non
in
sequitur.
Zion.
That's a non
And
sequitur.
if you don't believe in him, he wants you decapitated. Get your head marked, cut off.
Well, actually, Veronica, that's a
his
straw
message.
man. You could call him a hypocrite for changing his mind, but he did change his stance. The definition of hypocrite is without changing your stance. So he verbally, publicly changed his stance. So he does not want to decapitate people. Decapitation was a kind of way of relating the binary threat of the sun stopping
I'm
and
sure it was,
capitalism,
Naylan. Okay.
which is required for law in the first place. There
That's
is a
why he does that.
there's a negative like
He is being
consequence.
watched
Not
too. He doesn't know
there's a negative
people are
consequence to not following the law. There's a time limit. There's a time limit to love. And so whether or not it's represented by you being decapitated or the heat of the sun sevenfold, most Christians believe that by
There's a time limit to love.
Yeah, because the
right.
world's
Otherwise you
coming to
become
an
an
end
enabler.
soon.
Otherwise you become an enabler
What does that
to
mean?
wickedness. So he's
What does that
allowed
mean?
it to happen, allowance for up to a point, but
No,
it's
no,
going
no.
to stop.
Go back to the love thing.
We actually had the same discussion earlier today about shamos, right? So you can love someone, but when they do the wrong thing and they keep doing it, no matter how you try and correct their actions, at a certain point you got to call it quits.
Exactly.
Everyone should know this already. This
That's
is
just
exactly what
talking
we're
about.
talking.
That's talking about a boundary. That's talking about boundaries for action. Love itself doesn't stop.
Well, no, that is itself relationship love. You would try to convince someone of the right choice instead of allowing them to go down that path. And so in that same kind of way, I believe for the most part, probably Addison, Mikey, Veronica have probably been trying to convince you that I am going down a wrong path and trying to appeal to your sense of that Steven's been like trolling me or lying or something, or just leading you down a path for attention. But the fact is, it's a binary message about relationship with him versus not relationship with him. So of course it's about attention. So like whether or not they want to make you
Is
feel bad
everything
about
is
attention
binary to you?
shouldn't matter.
Hermes, do you believe that it's possible if Steven never gets out of prison that is indicating that somebody else is supposed to be taking his role?
I mean, if Steven's physical body was to perish, that would be the indication. But I mean, being in prison isn't that big of a.
Naylan,
It's
has
kind of
Steven
it's
ever
just
said
four
that?
walls. Like it's not that
Naylan,
big
has
of a
Steven ever
boundary.
said? Has Steven ever talked about passing on the torch or anything like?
Steven has never mentioned that. No.
Do you think you're the leader? Do you think
What
you
about
are
it?
the leader?
I'm sorry, you keep
Do
cutting out.
you think you are in charge?
In?
Yes.
In charge, is what he's saying.
No, I receive orders from the Lord Stephen Christ.
What makes you think that somebody would have to assume, you know, the beacon if his body was to perish? Where do you get that from? If Steve's not said that.
Well, having you ever heard the concept that any sort of philosophical truth requires an avatar or a medium or a conduit through which it is related? And that more than one shepherd can only scatter the sheep, and so therefore you need a word or a catalyst in order to polarize the ether and section good
Nobody's
from
heard
bad?
what you're saying right now.
Or it could just
Because
die out
this is the
because he
source.
dies out
You're
and
just
he's
making
never
things up,
talked
buddy.
about passing the beacon on. You know, that could happen. It could die out because he's never talked about passing the beacon on and nobody
Well,
nobody
right.
takes
I mean,
up the
that's been
beacon.
the standard for millennia, but like the distinction in my message is that the millennial kingdom is going to be set up.
Why is it now? Wait, why is it now your message, Naylan, and not Steve's
Hold on.
message?
Hold on, everybody.
Naylan, like I thought, as in I'm
Hold on,
translating it.
everybody. Hold on.
Naylan, you
Steven?
didn't come in before when we were talking to Veronica. I gave you the link. You didn't come in. Now you're here. Was anything that Veronica said untrue?
What'd she say?
You
In
were
the
there.
live stream, in the interview,
heard
when
the
you were
interview.
in chat being a pussy coward.
Oh, the first interview. I mean, she didn't say anything that I can verify because I wasn't there. She mentioned mostly about sex stuff. The stories about on the beach were mostly
mean
true. However,
mostly
what she
about
sex
left
stuff?
out, what
I
she
can
left
say
out was
things
that
that
Stephen
you
wanted to
said
go
are
to the police.
untrue. I can
What
tell
she
you
left
things
out on the beach
you
was that
said are
Stephen wanted to go
untrue.
to the police.
Did I leave out on the beach?
What?
That Stephen wanted to go to the police. Like it,
Did
there
go to
was
the
no
police.
contention about whether or
You
not Stephen
said
yelled at the woman too. Like you said that
he
somehow I.
wanted to leave.
Hold on, let
Can
me
you be
finish.
quiet?
You said that.
You never can be
Let me
quiet.
finish.
You
You said in the interview that
You're always
somehow
the
I
one
said
who
that Stephen didn't yell at the woman. That wasn't the contention. You both yelled at the woman. The point is that he
You
wanted to go to
weren't
the
even
cops, and then you
there.
continued to yell at the woman.
You
That's what
weren't
he
there.
said when he confronted
I don't
you.
care
I'm
that
only
you
relating
Naylan,
back
let her
to when
speak
you said
now.
I wasn't there. So I
Naylan,
couldn't
you've had
yell.
enough time. Let her speak. Let her
Listen,
respond.
Stephen called the police at the woman
Right.
when he called me a liar. Stephen was the one screaming and yelling at them and telling them they were cursed because their dog was on the beach and he was a danger to all the people on the
No, I never
beach.
debated that.
So
You
you
said I was a
came
liar
and
in the interview.
finish. You said was that I got bit by a dog and Stephen wanted to leave because I was yelling at a woman. That was your version of the story. Totally incorrect.
Was that you continued to yell at her while he was saying, because he started cursing at you at the beach too.
You are
He said,
such a
"Dude, stop
why
yelling.
what
Let's
did he
go."
say? What did he say as I was yelling?
He said, "Hey, stop yelling at her. Stop wasting your time. Let's go."
No, that's
There
not
was no
what
contention
happened.
whether
The
or not he yelled
police
at her
were on their
as
way.
well.
See, apparently
I'm
he lies
relaying
to you.
exactly what I am relaying exactly what Steven said when he
Okay,
confronted
well,
you
then he
on the
lied to
patio in
you.
the motel.
Okay,
I don't care if you
he
want
lied
to say
to
that
you. Why don't you look up the
that's the
police
point.
reports? I don't care. I mean, if you want to verify he called the police, you don't just
Right.
leave.
And you let that part
You
out in the
bring
interview.
the
That's what I literally
report.
why I brought this up. You let that part out in the
This
interview. You said he didn't call the police.
stupid
You left that out.
conversation
I had
here.
to say that. I had to say that because that's what was important about it. That's why he
What
said
you're
that.
saying, because
That's
what you're
literally
saying
why
is
he
a
confronted you
lie.
about disobedience.
What
That
is
was
the
the only
point of what
reason
you
he
said?
confronted
Are you
you about
trying to make it
disobedience.
sound like Steven?
I'm
Is
saying
that
he
lie
only.
anyway?
I'm saying he confronted you like very like chillaxly at the table.
Confronted
He's
me?
everyone came there and we sat there. And
Chillaxly.
he brought up a very
Chillaxly.
specific thing. He brought up a very specific thing.
That
and
is
you
the
stormed
one
out.
word that you don't describe fucking Lord Stephen Christ with. Chillaxly. Jesus Christ.
He was literally leaning back in the chair. He allowed everyone to come sit down, and then he brought it up. A very
Oh,
specific
yeah.
thing.
Oh, we're talking about on
He
the
knew everyone was about to
balcony.
come sit down for dinner. Literally. Like,
On the balcony when he wanted to talk to be about me, about how I
right.
was not obedient, how I was disobedient, and that's
One
why I got
time, and
put in
you
that
stormed
jail.
out immediately. You stormed out immediately. And so, like, that's the
Immediately?
whole reason, like, I
Yes,
brought it
I
up, and you
did.
always treat it as if I'm trying to be, like, derogatory, but it's really the story. It's really
If
the
I sit
reason
there
for
and
why you
listen to
left.
that shit, I'm supposed to sit there and listen to that stupid shit?
It's literally the reason why you left. Because you think
Not
that literally
literally the
him
reason I
confronting
left.
you about
Why are you
the
telling
question of
me?
disobedience.
Why are you
It's literally
telling
the
me
reason of
why
why you
I
think that
left?
it's breaking off the relationship. That's why you broke it. That's literally what you're
Stupid.
repeating. You
Why don't
say,
you listen? That is not why I left. I had many reasons for leaving. I threatened to
that's
leave them
literally
and
the
put
night that
them.
you left. That's what I brought up when someone
I
asked what you
almost
felt
left
was
him
the
in
reason or the thing
Missouri,
that
him
happened.
and Travis. You're lucky I brought him to you in Texas.
Okay?
Dog confrontation. It was way deeper than that. You can believe what you want, but it was way
I'm
deeper
saying
than
that was
that.
the catalyst. And so you brought it up in the interview and then acted like I was just trying to paint you as a bad person. But the point is, that's the
Him
reason you left, at the
my
time you left.
by the fact that he called me, was yelling at me and calling me a cunt and spitting in my face because I misplaced my credit card. What about when we were sitting in the car and he was commanding me to take money out of my account? Remember, he was like, get lots of
So
money.
are you able to have a 4-month time period in which things build up and he's not? Like, is he not able to also be able to build up emotions and then express those to you? Like, what is the purpose of him not telling you
Bring up
these things?
emotions.
To
That
allow
was
you to
him
stay and
screaming at
not
me over a monetary
to
issue.
not give you an excuse
My
to run
money.
away? Is that what did you not want an excuse to run away? Him not to spit in your face and not have an excuse to run away? Like, is that what you're saying?
I was
Because obviously he gave
leaving.
you a reason to run
Naylan,
away, and that's what you wanted,
Naylan, you're
right?
justifying.
I was
You're
going to
trying to
leave the night
justify his
before. If I
horrific
hadn't
behavior.
misplaced my credit card, I'd have been gone. Thank you.
I'm saying him yelling at you is not like him evidence of him being a bad person. It's called expressing yourself. You literally say multiple times he's not aggressive or like
And
hurtful
spitting
or
in
like
my face
abusive with you.
isn't an indication that he has some kind of
Spit coming out of your mouth when you're
control
yelling
problem.
is like
Naylan, let her
accidental.
finish a fucking sentence. Jesus
No,
Christ.
it's not. I didn't. Okay, I didn't. He didn't spit in my face.
Right.
He was screaming, spitting because he
Naylan.
was so angered. Really, that
Uh-huh.
amount of anger
You
over
frustrate him,
my credit
Rhonda,
card?
because you're constantly argumentative. That's what he expressed to us after you left. So you can try to debate that, but I'm just saying
Argumentative?
that's his only like
What was I arguing
qualm
with
with you.
about? What did I argue with? What was I arguing? I pretty much just let
That
him
you're
do what he
disobedient.
wanted.
But he calmly brought up a singular thing about disobedience, and you immediately rolled your eyes, started walking off, and then you tried to like say, "Hey, Rhonda, where are you going?" And you immediately started like being dismissive and
No,
passive
that's
aggressive
not
about
what
it. That's the
happened.
whole thing.
I was upset, and Travis came in to talk to me, and Steven came in and it's like, get away from her, get away from her. She's trying to get your sympathy. He wouldn't even let Travis console me.
You're narrowing this situation a lot to make your point. I also talked to you downstairs as well. You remember that?
I'm
Like this
telling
was a
you,
long day. This was a long day, and so I was there watching the entire time. You know, I stare at Steven a lot. I was seeing what was happening. Okay, like he wasn't being that rude to you. He was asking you, like, "Hey, Rhonda, why are you always so dismissive to me? It kind of seems like you don't believe I'm God," which is literally why he was confronting you on it. Because me and Travis believed he was God. He was
I
like, "Hey,
didn't
all of
believe
us
he was
together."
God, and I was
It's
ready to
Ask
get the
you.
hell
kinda
out of there.
Naylan,
And you
it's
did
kind of
not take the
fascinating how
opportunity
much
to
you
have a
try.
conversation. You just
Naylan,
stormed out
Naylan,
and allowed him to get
Naylan,
pissed off.
What?
Naylan. It's pretty fascinating
All
how
of it.
much you try and. It's pretty
You
fascinating how much
you
you try
didn't
and.
communicate
Naylan,
whatsoever, and
shut
that's
the
going to make
fuck up a
him angry.
second.
I'm saying it's not a big
Shut the
deal
fuck
for him
up
to
a
be
second,
angry.
Naylan.
He can be angry.
It's pretty fascinating how much you try
Listen,
and.
let me speak. Now I'm
You've been
done.
speaking non-stop for like 20 seconds. Take a breath and calm down. It's pretty fascinating how much you try and
I love how you
gaslight
gag
Rhonda
people.
and tell Rhonda what she believes.
Gaslight.
And tell
That's
Rhonda
your
what.
entire job, is to
Tell
gaslight
Rhonda.
Steven's emotions.
Tell.
Him being angry does not
And
mean that he's
tell.
not like able to have
And
opinions
tell
about himself
Rhonda
or
what
Rhonda.
she experienced. So you're not only telling her what she experienced, but what she.
I literally
believes
did not
as well.
invalidate her experience once. I'm
You're
validating
narrating
Steven's
experiences.
experience. You're gaslighting me, Addison.
Okay.
So is
I did
this
not
like
invalidate her
ex-cult
experience once.
member?
I
Is
literally
this
said she
ex-cult
did not
member
communicate with
versus
Steven.
current cult member? Is that what this is?
Yeah, that's Veronica is the ex, and he's the current cult member. Yeah.
Oh wow. Oh man, okay. I haven't talked to Lord Stephen Christ in wow, since the Skeptic Finch show. Is he still doing that shit?
Is he
Hermes
still
might
there?
be hotter than Veronica, dude. I mean, it's a given. Hermes is very Jesus.
Wow. Okay. Does he still think that he has a secret army? Like within
All
the
the
military?
armies.
Yes.
Yeah, all the
Of
armies.
course.
Oh yeah, the military stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gonna come and get me.
Yeah, I remember me and Steven had a wonderful conversation about that. He couldn't tell me which bases that the secret army is trained at. It was interesting because I was at one of those bases, if one should exist, and he couldn't tell me what it was, and I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, well, he's in prison now for threatening the second president in
Yeah.
his lifetime.
Yeah, I would if I were in his group, I would kind of look at that as a sign that he's probably not that stable. That's just me.
Actually,
Ah,
What
that
was the
was
example? I
fine.
was getting water. What was the example that someone's not stable? I was getting water.
Yeah, Steven is
threat-
garbage, man. I mean, we can all see this, man. Why can't you?
That's what I'm kind of curious about. Like people
Such an
who
interesting
follow him.
take.
Well, I'm trying to be very charitable. Like for people who genuinely or have in the past who followed Steven, what is the appeal, and how do you guys not see that he is quite clearly not mentally stable?
Not
He's
only
very
that,
mentally
he's
stable
lame.
and intelligent and
I was
salient in
not
everything he
mentally
says.
stable at the time.
Okay, I
He's
think
very
that's
mentally stable.
fair.
That's literally the definition of gaslighting. It's
That's
almost
not
like
the
I was
definition of
invalidating
gaslighting.
Rhonda's feelings.
I've
It's the
given
opposite of what I was
Nayland a new
doing.
buzzword now.
Yeah, guys, you're so normal. Everyone's so normal.
Well, okay, all of us have a certain level of dysfunction here, but like
We're not even
none
talking
of
about
us are.
dysfunction. We're saying you're labeling things as dysfunction because you just don't understand them.
He literally has gone to jail for threatening the president for a second time. I'm sorry.
Just insecure, Dragnet. It's
Understand
just
the
your
purpose,
insecurities.
doesn't mean that, like,
Insecurities.
Your insecurities
right,
are
yeah,
not
because you don't
Nayland.
understand the purpose doesn't mean that you know like what its implication is.
Nayland, is there anything that could possibly happen? Anything that you think could possibly happen that would change what you think and believe about Steven?
That's a loaded question, you know.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, it is on purpose. Now, I mean, it's
The
something
metric
that
is
you
Steven
would.
itself. So, like, if he was not Steven, then the issue or the question would not even be there. You
If he
realize that?
Or
murdered,
anything that could
Didn't you say
happen.
though
Yeah.
that if his body perishes, that would be proof to you that he wasn't God?
No,
That's a
no,
good enough
no,
example.
Dave. Well, you've got that built into your whole bullshit religion. You just think if he
what if
reincarnated?
he murdered and
I mean,
ate someone's baby?
that's the binary
Wait,
definition
wait,
between
wait. I
life
want to
and
address
death.
this thing from earlier. Nalon, is it true that you wanted to kill a prostitute?
Sorry, what? You cut out.
Nayland wasn't
Did
there.
you?
Nayland wasn't there
Oh,
in
It was
that
wasn't there?
conversation.
Travis. It was the other
No,
follower.
it was
Oh, yeah,
Travis
that
the
Nayland lives with.
Queen of Heaven thing? Yeah, Travis was there.
and she wasn't a prostitute or a hooker. She called her
Yeah,
or
she was
she
just some
called
lord
her
lady.
Heaven.
Prostitute is just what Mikey says when he's trying to be like provocative, if that's where you got that from. But yeah, the way that Travis tells the story is that Rhonda came up with the idea of let the military handle it, and that was how you passed the test.
Hermes,
that
Hermes, let
you're
me
not
ask you something. What do you
I
think
didn't
of us,
come up
man?
with an
What do you think about us? What do you think? Do you think that, oh, poor people, man, they are not able to see the truth? These people are, just wrong. This is what you think of us?
Well, I just think you're incredulous to the truth, but I think you have the
Yeah,
capacity for it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be
we're
here.
lost, right? Like we don't get to see the truth.
Well, I
This is
mean,
very
I'm
interesting.
here, so I mean, I believe that's your conduit. Rhonda's here, that's your conduit as well, but you have to be able to see kind of her double negative.
To see her double negative?
I
Yeah,
mean,
what
her
he's
name is
saying is that she's a bad example,
Veronica.
right?
Her name is Veronica, which she created as an anti-god persona to play when she's being anti-god. So like she's still
I used
playing it.
the name Veronica before I ever met Steven, by the way.
That doesn't change the fact that you're being anti-god right now.
Wait, so her using an
I'm not
online alias?
anti-God, I'm anti-Steven.
Right.
Why is Stephen a prisoner in his own mind?
Because, you know, hey baby, locked up in chains, ain't no love of mine.
Go ahead
You know
and
what I'm
make
saying?
something up, buddy.
Yeah,
I'm
why?
talking
What
about
do
chains
you
of
think?
love.
Have you thought about the purpose of him being locked up inside of his own mind, inside of his own creation?
That's the steganographic message. Surely he did bear our infirmities. Do
Wait.
not
How is
consider
he?
him stricken or smitten of God.
Wait. How is he bearing anything for us?
I mean, the responsibility of shepherding you, you know, taking the all of the years of condemnation on his shoulders so that
This
he
is
can be
going
the
away. This is
standard for
going away. This
your
is going
judge.
away from the This is going away from the original question, though. What does the benefit of him? What benefit to that message is him being a prisoner in his own mind?
Q card 6A.
He's saying you are all literally prisoners of your own mind, but most of all, Stephen's mind, as in
Well,
chains of
Neilon, don't
love
you
and
have
predisposition and desire.
don't you have this whole thing where that it's like a fucking his version of the cross, like it's a trial and it's testing and all this bullshit. Like you believe
Don't I
in
have a version? That's the basic implication and message of forgiveness, is that he did not kill the Jews, he allowed them to kill him so that he could come back later when the Jews had more
Yeah,
children
but
so
this
that
whole
more flock
Stephen
could
and
be
being in
redeemed.
jail, this Stephen being in jail is basically just like Stephen's version of the.
Right. His
Who did
long
Christ
suffering
threat?
is your
Who
salvation.
did Christ threaten? Who did Christ threaten to kill in order to get them to put him on the cross?
Donald Trump.
No. The original Christ.
Oh shit.
Oh, that's a question. That's a question. Was Christ 2,000 years ago? Was it just another version? Was that just another version of Stephen?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much.
They chose the
So
thief.
Obviously, they changed the Bible to be pro-Roman, so they took out all the parts probably where he threatened the Roman state, but that's neither here nor there.
Jesus, man.
he's
Probably,
quick.
yeah,
He's
probably-
quick. He is
probably
quick
did.
with this stuff, man.
This is
Probably
ad
did, you
hoc.
know.
I do have a question, Hermes. When did Stephen, receive the revelation that he was in fact Christ? I mean, was it when he when he was
2003.
born? 2003. What happened in 2003?
He had a hypnagogic vision where he realized he was the sun.
Just a vision, just like that.
Mm-hmm. Like he, like literally the light from the sun in the sky, he saw the backside of the sun, realized he was in the concave earth, that he was a source mind. I believe
Wait,
later he
in
said
the
Let me
sky?
ask you something. Let me ask you something, dude. Do you think there's a possibility, right, that could be just just an idea, right? Some delusional idea, or do you know? No, that is proof, man. This guy is Christ. He thinks he's Christ, therefore he must be Christ, right?
if I can just rationalize that he's not the Christ, maybe he's the Christ, not the Christ. That's kind
Maybe,
of how I
yeah.
think about what you're saying.
Quite
If I can just rationalize that this guy that I haven't met, that this guy who has met and says is the Christ is not the Christ, maybe he becomes not the Christ.
I think we're asking the wrong questions. Nate, how does this penis taste?
I've not tasted it yet.
The guy with the big
Probably not as good as
balls?
yours.
Who's
No.
the guy
Sorry, what?
with
Just think
the
about that,
big
Hermes. That doesn't seem right.
balls in Mexico that thinks he's Jesus? Sounds like Lord Britain.
Or Rael.
Well, what else do you guys talk about today?
Yeah.
got banned
So
yesterday.
So how does Steven feel
Please
about
don't bring
Lord
up
Rael?
Shamos for the love of Stephen Christ.
Stephen Christ.
I gotta start saying
That was a good one, dude.
I have a question for Veronica. So, if you don't mind me asking, like you had said earlier that a lot of the people that follow Stephen, where you implied it, are they mentally ill? Like, is that a common theme among people who believe Stephen?
I think a common theme would be that they want to feel special for whatever reason.
True, true.
They have a special knowledge Stephen gave them, and that's part of feel special. I don't know that everybody has mental illness,
Hey,
but
on a technical note, Veronica, your microphone has been kind of bad for a while. Do you just have a yeah, I'm not sure if it's your connection or it sounds more like a connection issue than it does the microphone itself. Could you move to a different place in your house, or is this a mic attached to a desktop? What's the
I guess I could try. Let me move. Give me a minute.
You just move closer to the router or something.
Yeah, I definitely feel as though that the people who follow him, they want to. I guess their mothers didn't love them enough. I don't know, but that urge to feel like he is giving them something that they can't get. It's a common theme, especially when they just kind of make up shit on the spot, and then just
That's not true. If you
proclaim.
read your Bible, you'll know that you are God and you have it inside, just like everyone else does. And it's a kingdom of priests.
Be
It's
quiet,
not just
troll.
me. I'm special.
That was easy. Jeez.
Fighter is correct here, man, but that's besides the point. So you guys think that this guy is Christ because he just one day he said, "Hey, man, I'm looking at the sun. This feels very good. Yeah, maybe I'm the one, dude. I'm the Messiah, right?" And all of a sudden, he is the Messiah, and
Yeah.
people are following him. That's quite an account.
Yeah, were
That's
any
why I always
signs and
say-
wonders accompanied with this announcement?
That's why I always say more than one shepherd can only scatter the sheep. And also, like Revelation says, be careful for lying signs and wonders.
Wait, I'm
for they
confused.
can
How
scatter
is he
the
gonna
sheep.
shepherd the sheep if he's like fucking locked up?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's
Donald
gonna
Trump is
get
going to
out and
pardon
he's
him.
gonna create Zion and have a new earth, and we're all gonna be shepherded into the killing chambers if we disagree with him, or into his new Zion heaven if we.
Hermes, were there any signs and wonders that accompanied
Killing
him meeting him that convinced you? I mean, what about him, besides him just looking at you and saying, "I am God"? What else went
As
along
soon-
with that to convince you so?
We met at a restaurant in Texas, and as soon as I saw his form come out from behind the building, eclipsing his face, I realized I was staring at the face of God.
What the fuck? Sounds so weird. Creepy.
Most people just call
Eclipsing
that
his.
arousal.
What do you mean eclipsing?
You know,
his-
like you go around a corner, you go around a corner, you don't see someone, and then the building is no
Just
longer
like
eclipsing.
creep around the corner.
Right.
As he
Except
was.
it wasn't like around a corner. I believe like he was in the middle of an archway, and there was people in the way, and like the people kind of moved out of the way, something like that.
You believe something like that?
Can he walk on water?
I haven't seen it. I'm sure it would be
Well,
possible.
he can bathe. We saw that, right? Like a child. So Hermes, let me ask
He
you
walks
something.
on
What
water
do
in
you
the shower
feel?
in prison.
What do you feel when we mock this guy? How do you feel?
I just think it's
Funny?
that God has authored the beginning of your faith is that you
But
start
do
from
you
the
think it's
bottom.
funny? The mockery. Do you think it's funny?
It's kind of funny, yeah.
It is
It's kind of
right?
funny. Not
Shit,
like
man.
not the
Of course
things you're saying specifically, because most of it's just like totally inane, just like blah blah blah. But
Nylon
it's
gets
funny
a
that
little
watching
triggered.
Funny, what's
Smart.
funny is the story. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can
Yeah,
hear
we
you
can
now.
hear
Yes,
you.
way
I can
better.
hear you.
Okay. So what's
Way
funny
better.
was
Yeah.
the story that Nayland just told about how he met Steven at the restaurant. And he stared at him like a lovesick little girl. I mean, he had this puppy dog
Mhm.
look in his eyes, and even Steven had to tell him, Nayland, it's impolite to stare. It was
Oh
weird.
Jesus, man! That was some psycho
Wow.
fucking sexual thing there.
Is this like
He
is this
said
like
it with
where they
he
start
said
fucking
it with
behind a
love
Denny's?
though. He said it with love.
Said with love,
Nylon,
right?
Nylon, you used to get quite triggered at us mocking you, so what's different now?
Well, yeah, because I used to think, I felt like I needed to stick up for him, but I realized he authored you to say all this stuff so that you could, consider what you said in relative to his love later. So I mean,
Oh, so it's
no big
out of
deal.
love, man. It's the
No,
same
it's
thing
just
that
like
happened to Veronica.
it's just like
Veronica
when he
just
said,
happened to want some dick. Now you fell in love with this special dude.
It's all
I
like Neil
understand.
on when he was all really homophobic and against Michael and that, and then he swapped it around and started being all loving of the gays, and then said that he only was homophobic in the first place to show other people's homophobia, which totally makes.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, double fake. Yeah, that
I
makes
mean,
perfect sense.
think about it for half a second. Mikey literally used to use the argument that I was just a tranny for why my love for Steven as being God was invalidated. So obviously, like, that was literally in response to that, something like that was like Steven calling him shit eyes repeatedly because he kept like saying that we were gay and that's why we were wrong. But it's like we weren't even thinking
No.
sexuality at
The
the time.
first interaction that Stephen had with Michael was when Stephen
I'm not talking
found
about
out
the
that
first
Michael was
interaction. I'm
gay,
saying when he
and
was with me.
he told him that he had AIDS and that he was gonna die and all of this
Yeah, I'm not
shit, right?
talking about the first
Nayland,
interaction. I'm talking about when he was
Stephen, Nayland, don't interrupt me. Stephen was very homophobic at first.
Yeah.
And then all of that homophobia in the beginning was explained away as, a double fake, getting other people
actually
to be homophobic.
all
It's bullshit.
homophobia was all ever directed towards Mikey. Like it was never directed towards anyone else except for that one video where he said homosexuality was banned in the kingdom after Mikey.
Video.
Right, that's
All
what I'm saying.
homosexuals. He said all homosexuals and how he described
And it
how
was literally a fake
disgusting
out for
sex
Mikey.
was, and
So it was a
when did
fake
you realize you were
against Mikey.
romantically?
Okay.
Nayland, when did you realize that you were romantically attracted to Stephen? Was it or not until you got the email that he was romantically attracted?
I mean, this is like the thing. Like it's about priorities in my relationship with Steven because the message and kingdom of God comes first, and then it's only
Putting
when
that
Steve
aside,
adds on.
setting aside the message, when did you
No, that's what I'm saying.
you were attracted
I
sexually to Stephen?
there's no inclination towards the type of things which are not like pertinent to the situation. Like in South Padre, we were thinking about other things. We were talking about other things. It was totally like there was no energy even directed towards the lower
What are you talking
spectrum of my
about? He
body.
made
Like,
several videos about how he's gonna fuck all the sexy women and put tattoos on their pussy.
yeah,
And
those
you
were videos that he
and
made
you
like
were
in the corner
pretending
of the
to be
room.
attracted to women too, which I know you weren't from past statements
Yeah,
you made.
was
Can I finish?
I'm
Because there was
go
all
ahead.
kinds of sexual videos he was making while we were in South Padre, prior to South Padre, and you were pretending that you were attracted to women because you were like, "Thank you, Lord, that I'm going to get to have sex with all kinds of beautiful women." I knew you were
Yeah.
attracted,
Sounds
I'm
like
bisexual.
Christianity,
I'm
man.
attracted.
Pretty
Hold on.
alike.
right?
One, I'm
Christianity
bisexual. I'm
101.
attracted to both. Two, yes, he made videos about it, but those weren't like what we were talking about actively. Like,
Sounds like some gay shit.
sorry, my Wi-Fi disconnected. Yeah, we were talking about like a lot of things. So like, I'm just saying the energy of the conversation wasn't directed in that way, and so like it could have, but like
So
the
you
whole
want
like
power, Hermes. You want power, Hermes.
the point is, Stephen never brought up like sexuality for like the first 10 years of his internet career. Like not until 2015 and on did he even start to mention that type of stuff. Like there are live streams where he's literally cutting down questions of people saying like, "What are your thoughts on homosexuality?" And he says like, "I don't care. I don't even like want to talk about that."
So you
And
want the
then,
power,
I don't know
the
about
power
that.
of people following you.
so the
Yes?
point
Is
is like
that
when Mikey's like using his own homosexuality as a way to like attack Christians and like strawman them, Stephen's gonna give them like the fear, and that's a way of faking them out because obviously I'm very positive that Stephen always was bisexual.
How long have you actually
Like, not like
did you used to watch Steven when he was on like Vaughn TV?
No, he's only
I
known him
didn't
a
know of him
couple of
like
years.
during when he was actually live streaming, but I've seen all of like his old Vine streams and stuff like that.
I'm very positive that Stephen was always gay, not bisexual. Just like you. You're not
Okay.
bisexual, you're gay.
From a woman that's been with him, it's
I'm
kind
sure
of
you
hard to
understand how
hide
my
that.
penis works, Rhonda.
What's that?
I'm sure you understand how my penis works, Rhonda.
Oh,
Oh
just
shit.
know from your behavior. And you did talk about in the chats your sexual
I'm
experiences
just saying,
with your
Rhonda. I don't think
ex-girlfriend
you
and how
really.
you didn't even enjoy having sex with her and you could barely get it up. So there you go. You're not attracted to women.
I'm just saying, Rhonda. There's a bit like more to things than just like a simple derogatory binary. No matter how like you want to trivialize my own thoughts about myself.
It's trying to make you realize that you're really just attracted to Steven. You don't really
You're
believe
actually
he's
trying to be a
God
witchy person online to a bunch of
and
strangers.
to be with Steven romantically.
Okay.
Is that what it is? It's like a power play sex thing.
Yeah, I mean that's what it seems like because he gets kind of flustered when she starts bringing that up. Like he bats away other questions easily, but he starts interrupting her when she starts saying stuff like that.
I've
He
been
has a hard
interrupting
time
Rhonda this
finding where he
entire
has a
time.
hard time finding words when it talks about the romantic portion of Stephen.
Yeah,
Well, it's because
I
it's
noticed.
new ground. Like that's literally what I mean. I have not thought about. That's literally the point. Is that I have a lot of experience in thinking about judgment and not, sex with Stephen. It's new.
You've never masturbated thinking about Steven?
Ooh, revelation.
It's a question.
It's taking a while to answer that.
That's his way of answering that he has.
Are you terrified of having a life away from Stephen or outside of Stephen's influence, or not having Stephen in your life?
Yes, that's literally why I advocate for him over not.
What would happen if Stephen died in prison?
I'd be very sad.
What would
Would
be
you
the
be
next
more
step?
sad?
What would be the next steps?
I mean, what does anyone do when they wake up in the morning and think, what am I going to do today? Like, it's a big oblivion of whoever I meet. I don't know how you can put that type of expectation on anyone.
True, true. But Hermes, you do want power as a result of being this coach, don't you? That's what you long for, yes?
Power well placed is good power. I don't care who has it. The
No,
point
no,
is that
but
no
you
one is
want power.
pointing to
You
Stephen,
long
and
power,
Stephen is
don't you?
the right application of power.
But you
If
are
I
in
can
the
help
top of
Stephen
the
get into
pyramid.
power, then I am the right application of power.
But you are at the top of the
Don't you
pyramid
understand how it's a metric
scheme.
in of its own? Like it is born out of Stephen. It would not exist if Stephen was not there. I would just be a kid who draws. That's the point. Like this does not
I
come just
understand.
of myself. It is Stephen being there.
No, I understand your motivations, Hermes. It's cool, man. I mean, it's understandable.
Everyone needs a hobby.
Right.
So if there was a more powerful deity person, like let's say if there was a Zeus version of Lord Stephen Christ with a bigger penis that was way more powerful than him, would you go to that person?
If he's not in the flesh and have blood running through his veins, then he's a dead god.
So what about Lord Rael? He has way more followers.
Who? Who?
Lord
Well, that guy
Rael.
brought up
He's Jesus.
Oh, he's
the
another Jesus,
scenario.
man. Oh shit.
That guy brought
That's
up the scenario about like powerful man, like big or whatever. Like I mean,
He
Stephen
has
is
way more
objectively more
followers
powerful
than you
than
and Steven.
Stephen is objectively more powerful than Rael. Rael just has money.
Are you sure?
oh, oh shit.
I
How
went
do
to
you
one of the
know? How do
Aurelian.
you know which one is the real God?
By meeting them in the face,
Have you met Lord Rael?
I met Stephen.
How do you know which one's more powerful?
Just a guess.
Another
What if I
Jesus
beat
is great
Steven in a
panda.
wrestling game?
Imagine that shit, man. Oh man, we have a lot of Jesus
I
in the
think that's the
house.
first bit of doubt I've heard in his voice yet.
It's not doubt. The reason I can say I guess is because it's the metric of its own.
But you don't truly know. Like you would have to take in, Lord Stephen Christ's member, and then take in this other guys, and then judge it that way.
I don't have the experience
Oh,
of
he's
Rael
black.
being
Oh
engaged.
shit.
I don't have the experience of Rael. Like he does not exist. Like as far as I know, he's literally like just a meme and not even a living person. Same as to you, Stephen, to you guys, right?
I went to
No, I think
Aurelian.
Steven's real.
I went to Aurelian like cult seminar for induction, and they had a whole room full of people nodding their heads and going, "Okay, the aliens did it right, and the Elohim are real, and everything in the Bible is true, and it's all just like stories of the alien Elohim, you know." And then they said, "Oh, and you can't do drugs," and like 3/4 of the people in the room just got up and left.
Jesus.
Like,
So
oh
what
shit.
were you doing there, man? That's what
For
were you
fun.
doing?
You've never gone to cults just to check it out?
Ah, you want to start your own cult, turd? I didn't know that.
No, I'm a
You're the
skeptic.
next Stephen Christ.
No, I'm a
Thing
skeptic.
about
I enjoy experiencing
the
like
thing
cult
about
indoctrination and seeing what they're all about.
You want to start a sex cult, turd? Don't lie to me.
Stephen is that he's more accessible than all the other because he doesn't have a large following. I mean, you can actually connect with him, and was able to meet
Also,
him.
his face is not Rael's face.
He seems like he smells like sweat and like Cheetos. Is that's always been my impression? Is that true?
Not
Stephen?
Cheetos, maybe a type of
He
sweat.
does smell like sweat. He does smell like sweat, yeah.
He smells like grease, right?
Everyone has a different sweat smell, but Cheetos is not something that he eats.
Right. I'll catch you later, guys. Thanks for jumping in, Veronica. And
Hi, Addison.
yeah.
Thanks.
I'll probably
See ya,
still.
Addison.
I'll probably stay in here listening, but I won't be engaging anymore. So. catch
Yeah,
you
thanks for
guys later.
coming by it, Veronica. I really enjoyed the interview you did with Helena and Tom, and it's been fascinating hearing from Hermes
Cheers,
and Addison
Addison.
and this whole
But
thing.
they're not leaving yet, man. I mean, are you telling them to get the fuck out?
No, I'm just saying it's awesome they're here.
Oh, yeah. I understand.
Yeah, I'm about to head out in a second, but I'm curious though, Hermes. Did Lord Stephen Christ tell you what specific military bases that his secret army is training at?
Or what'd you say?
Did Lord Stephen Christ tell you which military bases that his secret army is currently training at?
No, he doesn't know. I know
He
where the entrance
doesn't
is.
know.
I know where the
He
entrance is. I know
he
where the
doesn't
entrance is to
know
the maglev
where
train
his
tunnel.
army is training.
No, because it's secret. It's got secret in the name.
Secret from him.
Why would
So
you know?
hold
It's
on.
top secret.
So there's a secret unit within the armed services that he knows about, but he doesn't actually know where they're training at on his behalf.
That's the point.
What?
I mean, he's called
Oh,
he's
that's
called
very
them into
convenient.
action several times, but they never showed up. So
So how does he know to call them if he doesn't actually know where they're at?
he does it on the internet. He makes a video and
They
he
are
says,
taking care of
"That's worse. Go get
Secret
better."
organizations exist.
He does realise that's not generally how you contact the military or the
Shh,
management.
don't tell him. Like
Oh,
Hermes,
sorry,
come on.
sorry.
You have to know this is bullshit, right? You do realize that's not how you contact military members.
Well, you just told me to stop, and you
What are you
just
talking
went.
about?
Funny
Making a general YouTube
story.
video
Share funny
is not how you. Making a YouTube video is not how you're supposed to contact anyone. It's a video not made to contact people. It's just posted in general, but he makes it as a excuse to contact people. And like whether or not his expectation has failed or not does not mean that these secret organizations don't exist. They literally have the word secret in the name. Of course, you know where they're at.
Well,
He
them
does
being
try to know
secret
where
I
they're
do
at.
have an
him
army, Hermes.
You
I
know,
mean, I
the
do have an army. They
trained
are
up.
protecting me as well. I cannot tell you where they are, right? But they are there.
Tasteless,
Yeah,
do you know where the
Veronica.
entrance is?
Yes.
Dude, his message is that literally
Yeah.
his army is designed to protect you. Like,
I mean, Veronica, if
yes,
you're
you have an army
interested
to
in
protect you.
people who don't have a lot of followers, so you can get in contact with them easier. Tasteless has 0 followers, so you can have them. You can have them all to yourself.
I will lead you to the fucking
I'm not
promised
looking
land.
for a hero anymore.
I love you, Molly.
Their entrances to the maglev trains in
love you
Denver
too, Dad.
International Airport, Buckley Air Force Base in Colorado, Manwith Hill in England. They all converged to
Wait
Pine Gap.
a minute. Oh, don't come up on my ground.
This
Why
makes
didn't this military
absolutely no
protected
sense.
Stephen from getting arrested, man?
When we were driving to Texas, it was me, Travis, and Steven in the car, and there was a military truck driving by us, and this is when he was constantly talking about getting his daughter to join him in Texas and calling on Delta Force to go pick her up from Slovenia and bring them to him. Anyway, he was driving and he started screaming at me to find a piece of paper and a pen, and he made me write on a piece of paper, "Go get Addison," and then he had Travis hold the sign up to the
What? This is like out of a
That's
I mean, how do
movie.
you know that that wasn't like actually well received? How can you?
because Addison never showed up.
See, when I
Just
hear the
because
smile in your voice when you say things like that, Hermes, it
I
causes
mean,
me issues, man.
their job as a military vehicle within the town is to like keep surveillance. So like it doesn't matter whether or not they
it's
know
not.
particularly.
We were
If they
traveling
hear
in the
someone
railway.
saying go get Addison, it's going to be logged regardless. Like
No, there
just
is no
because they couldn't
surveillance.
act immediately doesn't mean that the message isn't received. Like that's the point.
Okay,
So
so
they at least know.
a random. Let's just take a moment here. So,
Like, and also, it wasn't
Hermes,
just that
no,
that they
wait,
did.
wait,
Like, he was
wait.
trying
So a
every
random
opportunity
vehicle.
possible
I'm
to send a
sorry.
message to the military. Every
Right.
different thing,
So
Facebook Messenger, messages straight to QAnon, every single possible avenue he tried. So yes, while he's thinking about it, a random military vehicle driving by, he's going to try that avenue too.
right,
Like
but
a
Stephen, you
surveillance
have a
vehicle is going to
random
still take a log.
person holding up a sign saying, "Go get Addison."
He's not random though. He's God, and they know that.
Oh, so
Did
so
you
you
just
think you're
say?
saying?
Did you just
So
say
you
QAnon?
you?
Yeah, I mentioned QAnon before.
Oh my
Oh, I
gosh.
get it. You're crazy.
Okay.
So okay. So I'm just curious. How much has Steven told you about his knowledge on military things? Because it just seems like this is one of those areas where you either know something or you don't. Right? There's no middle ground on it.
I know we have deep underground military bases that have food been shuttled there
Okay.
every
Okay.
year, every month for the
You
past 10
have.
years.
Okay. Hold on. Let's stop right there. Let's stop right there. Underground military bases. What bases specifically are you
Pine Gap,
referring to?
Australia. That's
In
the main central hub.
Australia?
The city, hundreds of miles underground. And they've been shuttling food there for years.
Wait, where is this place again?
How come nobody in
Pine Gap,
Australia knows about
Say
Australia.
it?
Pine Gap is did you say hundreds of miles underground?
Yes.
Holy shit.
You said it's in
There's
Australia?
entrances.
Yeah, it's in
There's
Australia.
entrances to the maglev trains which converge underneath the oceans to connect all the
Really?
continents.
Really? So
There's
Right.
that's so
entrances in Denver
strange. So
International.
why is it that we have to use uh these huge carriers anytime we're in a foreign theater? Like if for any of the US all of Forcecom, why are we using railway and the fucking sea if we have these underground maglevs that would cut the time probably in half?
Because they're being made to shuttle food there for cataclysm, for the apocalypse. It's not for general use. It's for shuttling everyone to one location specifically. It's not like you can
Well, hold on.
resurface in Australia and
If you can put
visit the cities
foodstuff
of
and
Australia.
people on there, why can't you put people and their weapons, right? Because you can, if it's a
Saying that
certain
already
weight
happened.
capacity, that
I'm
doesn't make
saying
hold on, that
most
doesn't make any sense. 10
it already
pounds
happened.
10 pounds of
That's the
food,
thing.
right?
It
And
already
people
happened.
is the same as 10 pounds of ammunition in people, right? That doesn't make any sense. So
You're
it's
just saying
already
gibberish.
happened.
They
So
already funnel food across the continent underground. They already do
okay,
that. Drug smugglers use underground bases to do that.
yeah, but you
Like
said
illegal
there's
child
a
traffickers use
system
underground bases.
of maglev trains underground that can connect continents. Is that what I understand?
Yeah, underneath the oceans. Underneath the oceans.
Underneath
They're
the
vacuum sealed
oceans.
tubes.
Oh, that's
They're
cool.
vacuum
Okay,
sealed tubes.
so that still doesn't answer why are we having to use carriers and railways above ground if we have
I'm
this
saying people
technology?
do it underground. They traverse things, drugs, children,
First thing.
resources, anything.
Okay,
They've been doing that
are you
forever.
not actually hearing my question?
You're asking why don't we? We already do, but it's secretive because it's arrogated by
Okay.
people with
Do you not
influence.
hear me?
Money.
Do you not hear me say that we actually transport it a harder way? Are you missing that part when I say that?
We do both.
We do both. Okay. So in a government organization that is only allotted certain funds, why would we do both when one is clearly more efficient?
If one is filled, one's constantly being used. It goes one location, Pine Gap, Australia, and not to all the cities. But some of them connect Australia and Europe, and I mean not Australia and Europe, Europe and America, which is where children are trafficked through sometimes. And so that's why
Wait,
the
so
NSA
you
has
have
been
children?
arrogating.
So you're saying that underground railways are going from Colorado, I think you said Boulder, somewhere like that, underground all the way to Pine Gap, Australia.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Yes, that makes absolutely no sense. So what bases are these connected to in the U.S.?
I said there's entrances in Denver International Airport, Buckley Air Force Base in Colorado, and Manwith Hill in England. I'm sure there's more, but those are the ones that I'm aware of.
Those are ones, and you've actually been there and you've seen this.
Those are ones that I've done research on online. You can look it up.
You've not actually been there. You've not actually seen it.
No, but there's lots of resources online about
Okay.
maglev trains connected to Pine Gap, Australia specifically. Like it's not like it's conspiracy. It's information you can look up that the government gives you
Yeah,
because
there's all type. Oh, yeah, there's all types of stuff that you can look up on the internet. Oh, trust me, I know. But you've not
it's not like
actually.
presented
Yeah.
as a conspiracy. I'm saying like it's literally their project that they're saying is for moving people and resources to another country in case of cataclysm. In case it's what it's like designed for.
Sure. I don't doubt that there's some type of project somewhere for that. If it works currently, I'd be amazed if something like that were actually working right now. In fact, it'd make a lot of our training a lot easier because you could connect bases, especially for all allied forces, directly to the National Training Center, since they have to spend a lot of money transporting troops and their equipment by plane, by boat, and all types of other stuff. But this
I agree,
underground
Dragnot.
maglev
I'm
thing sounds
convinced too.
awesome.
Yeah, Dragnot, I'm also convinced.
You're convinced? Oh man. Hey.
Is this the same? Is this the same Dragnot from that old LSC video that I have on my channel?
Yeah, this is Dragnot that's been around for quite a few
In
years.
the Atheist Life live show with Dark Matter.
Oh yeah, this is me.
That's funny.
That's me. Yep, I'm the same guy. And it's
We're making the same
crazy then,
argument.
it's crazy now. Well, it's clear that none of you guys actually know how any of this stuff works. Like that's
I mean,
what's
it's
obvious,
clear
right?
that like you're looking to avoid information about deep underground military bases. Like it's one thing if you want to say that you worked on a military base, but it's one thing to avoid like actual underground military base evidence. And like we're not even making crazy claims. It's not secretive. Like the things that's secret is the United States Secret Service working for Steven, as in it's
What do you mean when you say people are trying to avoid information? What do you mean by
Dragnot is
that?
avoiding that it's real. He literally said he doesn't know if it's real or not because he just hasn't looked it up. It's not even hard to look up. Pine Gap, Australia. Like
Okay,
it's
well,
literally in every video
looking at
on my
what's
channel.
the connection between looking up a PDF and it actually being true?
It's not just a single PDF, dude. Like there are pictures, photos of hundreds of miles underground tunnels dug in Pine Gap, Australia with boats, silos of resources.
Boats.
Boats.
Boats underneath the ground, like big
What?
yachts.
Yachts.
Yes.
What is the purpose of yachts underground?
Okay,
Well,
so
shit.
the
If you're
world
going to
is
be underground, at least be in a yacht.
so Pine Gap is an allied base. It's a joint base, right? We have plenty, outside of what we call CONUS, the continental U.S. But what Hermes is talking about is fucking ridiculous. That maglev train that goes underground is absolutely fucking ridiculous.
Isn't Pine
So
Gap our satellite? Isn't that our satellite base? I think.
yeah, it's a satellite base. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
thank
way the
you.
fuck out there in Australia. I mean,
Oh,
there's plenty of them around the world, but
mhm.
the what's interesting is that I would like her because Hermes, I don't think you actually know how stuff in the military works. So I'll educate you. When there are projects within the military, right? There's a paper trail. When funds are allotted, when things get like it's called IMTO, when it gets IMTO'd, you get a certain amount of money allotted for a particular area or department. there's a paper trail attached to that because you have to petition for that money every year. And the fact that you don't have any of that stuff for such a project is
Look it
interesting.
up, dude.
As well as,
Look it
again,
up.
okay, well, cool. You find me the IMTO for that base and for that project for the Maglev train and get that to me, and I'll believe you. Okay?
Yeah, I have it on my bookmarks. Hold on 5 seconds.
You have the IMTO for it?
Are you asking like receipts and shit? Because I don't get that. But I have
IMTO.
information labeling the money spent on it. Like
Specifically,
drill.
What
like
is
the nuclear
IMTO
drill to use
for
to fix
that
the tunnels.
base?
I'm talking about the technology designed for the vacuum sealed tubes. Like I've got all these links. And
I'm not asking for
right
any of that. I didn't ask for anything
that's
about
not
that.
stuff you
Right?
want. You
I
want
asked you for
receipts.
something very,
That's
very
fine.
specific.
I ain't got that.
Right?
I
Okay,
ain't got
so what
receipts.
did I ask you for?
You asked for receipts, and I just said I don't have that.
What
What I do
what
have
is
is
it called?
technology.
It's something very specific that I was asking you for. What is it
An
called?
IMTO.
Okay.
An IMTO.
Do you have the IMTO information for that base?
I just said no.
Okay, thank you. The fact that you don't have that means that your claims are bullshit. Because in order for that project, I'm going to explain why. I'm going to explain why. In order for that project to have had any relevance, right, means that there's a certain amount of money that need to be
Dude, I
allotted
don't even know what
to
an
it, and
IMTO
there's a
is. That's
history.
the thing. So I'm arguing from incredulity, and you are. But the point is, I
No,
have
I
an argument
already know that it doesn't exist, my
that
man.
you
I
are
can tell you right now it
looking to
doesn't
ignore.
exist. I already know that.
I'm saying I
Because
don't even know what an IMTO is, but you're using that as an
that's
excuse.
because it
for
doesn't
things that
exist.
you know
Exactly,
exist.
dude. That's my
You
point.
know
That's my point. Because
vacuum
you're
sealed
full of
exists.
shit. The
You
fact
know
that you
vacuum sealed
don't
tubes
know
exist.
about
You know
anything
vacuum
about that
sealed
stuff,
tubes.
the fact,
Ragnar.
hold on. The
You
fact
know
that you
vacuum sealed
don't know
tubes in
what
the
that
universe exist.
is a
You know what
testament
that
to
is,
you
though,
bullshitting,
Ragnar.
though. Yes, I do
I don't
know
know
what
what
it
an
is.
IMTO is, but you know what a vacuum sealed tube is, though. We have that technology.
Yes,
You
that's so
know
awesome.
that exists.
What does that
Ragnar.
have to do with what I asked you?
It's literally the argument is that those
You're
exist, and that we're
obfuscating.
going to use
That's
those
what
for
it. That's what
showing
it is.
people.
It's clear that you're obfuscating because I called you out on your bullshit. The fact that you and
I
Steven know
just said
nothing
I do
about
not
this
know what
stuff,
an IMTO is.
that's you guys start
Ragnar,
doing
you're
that.
not hearing what I'm saying. I literally said
What are
I
you
do not know
saying?
what an
Tell
IMTO
me
is. I
about
don't have to look
vacuum
that up.
tubes, please.
And maybe I could show you what an IMTO after I research what an IMTO is. But the point is, you're ignoring things that you know exist. The only claims I'm making to make another argument about
Jesus, man.
IMTOs.
Yeah,
Shut
man.
up, Tasteless.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, in this case, Hermes is correct, man. In this case,
What? You
this
don't
guy
even
is
know
getting
what we're
hold.
talking about. You don't
Tasteless.
even know what we're talking about,
He was
Tasteless.
just saying that it exists, and the other guy was very skeptical. He just told
You
him all the
don't
information
even
about it.
know what
He has the
Dragnot is
goods.
asking
He's
him.
not making any other claims. Jesus, man. I mean,
Tasteless,
let's
you're
not be
insane. You're
uncharitable. No,
insane.
let's not be uncharitable to Hermes. Come on.
Yeah, I'm actually on Hermes' team right now.
Shut up, Yuri.
This is cute, though. I mean, I like it. So when is Steven going to take you on a tour of the Maglev train?
What is
Oh,
this?
I got a better question. What type of clearance do you need to get on it?
I don't know, but I just sent some links so you can look
Oh.
at photographs.
Oh, cool. So I would imagine a project like that, you'd probably need fairly high clearance.
Since you're his appointed, are you his appointed second?
Yeah, I
in
remember
command?
you not being high enough for that, Dragnot, in that video.
Yeah, and if you remember that video correctly, I asked him what type of security clearance does one need to have, because I
Yeah.
never told him my level of security clearance. Do you remember what he said?
Yeah, he said you're not high enough.
Yeah, and I
You don't
asked
know
him
that
what
you're not
level
high
of
enough.
security clearance. Hold on, and I asked him what level did I need,
He said he
and he
doesn't
couldn't
know, but
answer
you're
that.
not high enough.
Yeah, he doesn't know. So how
It's
would he know
secret.
that I don't have high enough? It's secret. Now that's interesting. Now I want you to look up this. Look
Like,
up
it's kind of a
the
binary
security.
thing. It's either you know what it is,
So hold
or
on
you
for a
don't
second.
know.
Hold on, yeah, because
If you know,
you
you're not.
just hold on for a second. Hold on for a second, because now you just said it was secret, correct?
Right, meaning you don't know
Okay,
about
good.
it. Meaning
Now
you're
I
not high
want you.
enough.
Now hold on for a
I know.
second. Hold on. Yo, don't run off yet, man. Don't run off yet. Now
I'm
I
running off.
want you to go look up what security clearance you need to become a medic in the army. Go look that up right now.
I just said it's secret. You don't know about it. Therefore, you're not high enough. I'm not gonna do
Okay,
your bullshit.
go look
I'm not gonna
up.
look it up. Don't give a fuck.
Go look up real
Look on
quick.
my links that I already
It's
sent
fine.
you. You asked
Go
for.
look up.
Look at my links now, or I'm not gonna talk to you anymore. Look at them
Okay, so
now.
go look
Click
up
them.
because you
Look my
just
link.
said that I'm not high. You just said I didn't have a high enough clearance. Go look up what security clearance you need to have to become
I
a
don't think
medic
you're
in the army.
smart enough to click the links right now. Are you
You
smart
don't.
enough
You
to
get
click my
called
links
out,
that I
right?
already sent? I
You know
did the work
exactly
already. I
what you
already
just
sent the
fucked up
links. You're
with.
asking me to do more work. Click my
You
links. I already
just
did for you.
fucked up.
I already did
Yeah.
work for you, buddy. Do my work. click my links.
Why are you upset?
Click the links, man.
I'm
Click
upset.
the links. I
You're
mean, he's
dodging
providing
the links you
evidence.
asked for. I
Where are
gave
the
links,
links?
and
I
now
don't
you're
see
not
them.
clicking
Where are
my
they?
link.
Where are they? I don't
Where are
see
these
them.
links?
Now you got to scroll up because you wasted time. Go scroll up.
So how about I'm gonna save you some time, Hermes, because you
Thank
seem
you.
like you probably 62
Why just
IQ.
post them again?
I've had secret security clearance. If you actually remember watching that whole thing, I tell him that I have a secret security clearance.
These
So
are proposals. These are not actual.
You might want to try that again with somebody else who knows a little bit less about this topic. Okay, Junior?
Dragna, maybe you're just not secret enough. You ever thought about that
I'm not
binary distinction?
secret enough.
These are just proposals, Hermes.
You're acting so stupefied. Right, exactly. It's a binary proposal that Dragnot is proposing that he's somehow secret enough.
No,
It's
no,
a
no, no,
binary
no. The
like
links
thing.
that you
Like, somehow
post,
you're acting so
the
stupefied about
links
it.
that you posted are
You
just
fuck it. And you're
proposals.
just not smart enough
Yeah.
to seek it out in your own
Hermes, the link you just
industry.
posted about the maglev. These are all just proposals. There's like actual. These aren't evidence of
They're
their
not just
existence.
proposals. It's showing that it's
and
finished. You have the technology.
that's
And it's
why.
done.
So
Those
hold
are
on,
duck tunnels.
for
They're
whoever
photographs.
pointed that out, that's why I asked him for the IMTO for, because if the proposal had gone
Dude,
through, they would have
those
been
are not
IMTO'd a
just
certain amount of
proposals.
money
If you
for
scroll
like the
down,
completion of the project and the maintenance of it.
Dragnot,
That's
those
why
are
he
not
didn't find it.
Dragnot, those are not just proposals. If you scroll down, there's photographs of the actual nuclear drill digging the
Oh
hole and
man,
creating the
oh
vacuum
that's cool. So
tube.
they have pictures involved in a proposal, really?
You can't even
Because
tell
this
with
is
this
not just a
other.
proposal.
This is this.
There's a timeline of information on it. Like if you
Oh,
actually
you mean
study it and you don't just
people
reflect, you
make a
realize
schematic and a
Dragnot, there's a
timeline
timeline
when
of
they make
information on there.
proposals?
There's a timeline
What?
of information between the conception of the idea and the creation of it. They've been
What?
funneling food down there for decades.
Man, you
It's
mean
already
when
happened.
people propose things that they bring a timeline to tell you when
Dragnot,
it could
baby,
possibly be completed? That's
Dragnot. The timeline for when it would be completed was in the 80s. It's been completed for decades, is what I'm
It's
saying.
been completed.
Like,
Cool. Now find
if
me
you
the
actually
cool.
are credulous
Cool.
enough and not a
So how about
coward and
this? So
clicking those
Hermes,
links to
that's
research
cool.
it,
Cool.
then maybe
Hermes, it's cool,
you'll
man.
impress me.
Hermes, it's
Dragonite.
cool. Now, if it's completed in the 80s, cool. I'm gonna buy this. If it's completed by the 80s, right? Find me the IMTO for it.
I don't even know what an MTO is yet. I have to look it up.
Good. Now, until you do that, shut the fuck up, you idiot.
Dragonite, you're a coward because you're not even on the fucking webpage right
I'm
now.
sorry. One of us actually
You're a
joined the
coward.
military, and the other is sucking the dick of some fucking cult leader.
Yet you're still too much of a coward to just look up information
Hermes,
in your own fucking industry.
the
If you asked
evidence
around, like,
is
if you're
just bullshit,
scared,
man.
maybe they would let you in on some stuff and you showed some humility. But if you're just looking to, like, put things down, then of course they're going to keep things secret from you.
Steven Seaman must be like laced with cocaine or something.
Come
You
on,
see,
Hermes.
that
I mean,
type
just
of
posting
communication is not
some
viable.
web with fucking text and images and shit. This is not evidence. Come on.
Huh?
Yeah, the information you posted. I mean, that is not evidence.
It's
Right?
just text file. It's just text files upon
Yeah,
text files upon text files.
it is just text and some
Containing
shit.
information
I'm sorry, what?
with sites and sources. Feel free to deflect if you want. There's information leading to other pages on those pages. So
Yeah, I
cool,
know.
cool.
I
understand
know.
that.
We've already been. I've been going through them, and there's like no
It's very
corroboration
weak.
outside of
It's
these
very
pages.
weak. It's very weak, Hermes. Come on, man.
I mean, I could build a website. I could build a website right now. Pull up a bunch of old military photos of defunct projects and proposals of projects, and throw some text in there, and throw some
projects,
quotes and
dude.
stories from supposed
We know
guys
what
in
we
there.
know what Triangle is for. We know they have bases, cities, hundreds
We
of
don't
miles
know.
underground.
We
Do
don't
you have a
know.
There's
selfie?
photos
Do
in
you
that
have
document of the tunnels. I don't
So
know how why
let's
you're looking to
hold
be
on.
cozy. There's nothing to be cozy
Hold on for a
about.
second. Let's try this. Let's try another route. For anything that exists as a part of the Department of Defense, right? Something that people use. They have a manual that goes along with it to tell people like how things operate. They call TMs. Okay. Can you find me a TM about something related to the project, such as how to operate the maglev?
Looking.
Take your time. He's going to be looking for a while, folks.
Thanks, Akeem, for underground pedo yachts are real.
You should have learned when Steven tried this with me. You didn't learn.
Hmm.
Okay, big guy.
That was a 6-year-old ass whooping that I gave him, and now you get to take it.
You're using the exact same arguments from the exact same incredulity, dude.
And that's what's funny. Like, you
I'm about
didn't
to show you
learn
the
from
info you're looking
his
for, dude.
mistake.
Wait, just hold on a sec.
You're not going to find it because it doesn't exist.
Beat show with your assumptions,
Hermes,
dude.
Hermes, I searched the images in the information you provided, and it says it is a military alien base, man. What the fuck is wrong?
That's a red herring.
What do you
The word
mean
alien.
a red herring? What the fuck?
It's a way to obfuscate information that they're giving you, so that it seems
What?
sillier
Wait, isn't
than
that
it
from
is.
his source?
Yes.
Like it's
So
not
wait, how are
actually.
you offering a red
They
herring
live
from his
inside the Earth,
source?
so they can't be aliens. Like that's the idea. Like anything that seems weird is going to be called alien, and so that's why they call it an alien base.
No, you wouldn't have that.
La, la,
In
la,
a,
la, la.
you wouldn't have that in military documents, man. So if you want an example,
telling you,
folks, if anybody else wants like to look up what I'm talking
Come
about,
on,
there are
Hermes.
TMs on the vehicles, like such as the FLA, the field litter ambulance that I drove, the fucking any of the Abrams stuff like that. There's TMs on all that equipment, on the rifles, everything. Anything that you operate in the military has a TM. Everything. So if this maglev exists or any of the technology associated with it, it's going to have a TM, and they're all publicly available.
Yeah. Hey, Hermes, I got a question for you, man. Can you pinpoint a point in your life when things got so bad that you just couldn't stand living in this reality that we live in? When did you start needing to
No.
escape this reality that we live in?
I was never like that. I've always been positive.
Positive, you've been full of shit.
You don't have a point in your life when something got so bad or something happened in your life, or you just couldn't deal with you had to get access to a different reality besides the one you actually live in.
No.
So you've had these ideations of other things pretty much as far back as you can remember.
Well, I mean, if you realize what I'm talking about narrowing your ideations, as in admitting that there is no such thing as other worlds, other terrestrial biomes, aliens, that you are the only sentient life in the entire universe. So
I mean, but they weren't teaching you that back in school when you were in basic grade school, elementary school, high school. They weren't teaching you that. At what point did you hear the
sorry, my Wi-Fi
information?
disconnected. I did not hear what you said.
Oh, it's okay. That's okay. At what point in your standard? I mean, because you went through you weren't homeschooled or anything like that, were you? Did you go to like standard schools and all that, like public schools and all that?
Public school, and then my last 2 years of high school, I actually moved out of my.
Right, the art school, the art boarding school.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. At what point during that schooling career did you just all the information that they were giving you? That you just went, no, that can't be right? Do you remember that moment?
I mean, there was no rejection of classical information. There was just Galileo's assumption that light is straight for trillions of light years, and then the result of that juxtaposed to light bending through a bumpy glass surface. And you realize
Well,
which one is more
even
likely.
physicists will admit that gravity has the ability to bend light. I mean, that's not really informative at all. But
Right, like it's based off of an assumption that somehow mass even attracts mass, and it's not a rolling wave of energy in the core of the convex Earth. You know, radiating the moon to bob back and forth, closer and further away during its apogee-perigee cycle.
can you tell us why you were sent to boarding school, art school at some point? Was that just you applied at when your sophomore year in high school? You applied to go to this art
I had to
school.
make an art portfolio to get accepted.
Interesting.
Oh, that's a nice picture of the nuclear drill I think, tasteless opinion. Thanks for posting that. I got
Yeah, well, it was in your project, and it was one of the pictures that they're citing as for for this military base, but they are claiming that this is another thing, man. That's so I don't know, man. It's just you need to realize that these photos, man, they belong to other projects, different things, and they are sticking it together to make it sound valid and legit, and dumb people believe it and say, "Oh shit, this must be real."
That's not what's happening.
I'm sorry, what?
They're not just juxtaposing unrelated things. Like that drill is located in Australia.
Well, there is, in fact, mainstream reporting on it, man. It is not like this secret. No, it is well
Right, that's
known.
what I said. It's not like it's all secret. There's just their intentions for it is secret. Like them knowing that it's about the apocalypse. That's the implication. Like some people could say, "Oh, it's just an underground base," and that would be the credulous point for someone to come to. Is, "Oh, it's just a base that we have for just in case." It doesn't mean exactly what I'm saying is true, but it means that they're used for a certain purpose, which is my only main argument, which is that we built them because we have precognizant foresight, or at least anticipation or fear of cataclysm. The only reason to build
Taliesin Oberlander says Stephen Christ is Dagoth. You're trapped in Red Mountain. What does that mean, Hermes?
Dagoth?
Yeah.
I've never heard Dagoth before. I've heard Dagon.
It's Red Mountain. You know what that is?
When I hear Red Mountain, it makes me think of that mural in the Denver International Airport that has like the pyramid with the young Donald Trump in front of it, with like the word Keck written on the side of it. Like K or QEQ is how it's spelled.
It's a weird verbal Rorschach test. Anyway, so
I'm just
what?
describing a mural in Denver International Airport, dude.
Sure. So
Yeah,
who
sure.
was the lead for that project that you claim is existent,
I don't know.
and not just a proposal?
Talking about maglev trains, like technology that groups of people have to work on. I don't know.
That particular, what military personnel, what individual? Was it lieutenant colonel? Was it sergeant major? Who was in charge of that project?
I just said I do not know.
Okay, I'm just curious. Was it a government contractor that helped create the maglev train, or you know anything about that? Like, what civilians were involved?
One of the other pictures, Hermes, was from the project of Elon Musk's. The what is it like? The loop.
The Hyperloop?
Trail. The Hyperloop. Yeah.
Right. Which is above ground version of that.
Yeah, but the picture itself is I don't know. I mean, they're presenting it as evidence for that base, but it is not in fact.
Hyperloop is supposed to exist everywhere, but the technology used to make Hyperloop exists primarily, originally underground. That's where it was tested. That's where they still exist.
I understand. Well, it is what it is.
Still not finding that TM? Need me to help search?
Now that I wasn't distracted, I think I found it. It took like one Google search.
Oh, cool.
I just had the
What
exit
TM
out
is
of the
it?
tab. Link in the
Mind you,
PDF.
so
That's
mind you,
my
TMs have
little
TM
folder.
and then a number attached to it. So just tell me the TM number.
Oh, let me read the PDF.
They're usually at the bottom of the pages. They literally should be at the bottom of any page as a TM, what number it is.
I'm looking at an entire manual. So bottom of the page, which page
Yes.
is a specific
Any
page, last page.
literally any page. and any TM has
That
the number
that
for
sounds
what
wrong
TM
because
is.
bottom of any page of
That
anything is going to be the page
sounds
number.
wrong.
You're not gonna
Okay, have
put-
you ever looked at a military TM before?
yeah, and it's probably going to have it on one page, not on every single page, because that's the
No,
page number.
every single page will have the TM on it.
Rational Canadian atheist. $10. Thank you very much.
Well, 10 Canadian dollars.
And Canadian dollars. Around $10.
It's like a little less. It's like a few cents less.
Thanks, bud.
Wait, who's the rational Canadian atheist?
Oh, he's just someone who's in the YouTube live chat.
Yeah, that was really generous, man. I am surprised. Rational Canadian, Jesus. That must
Apparently,
be
it's $7.55.
Like, I don't. You're trying to like diminish.
You tried to diminish that.
No, that was really good. Thank you. It's very appreciative.
Yeah.
All right, so if you look in
I
the
mean, Tom appreciates it very much, man.
real quick,
It was
if you look in the general chat, I just posted a screenshot of the TM from the vehicle that I work with. You'll notice that all the pages have the TM number on it.
Yeah, we can tell.
So I wanted to just show what's his face here, because since he's never actually seen one in his goddamn life. You shouldn't have to search for it. It's literally on every page. I'm going to guess what you found wasn't a TM. Yes, no, maybe.
There's a lots of numbers, but it's not on every page. Like there's numbers on first couple pages.
So what you probably have is not a TM.
Okay.
Wrecked.
Here, how about this? This might be easier. So how about if you were so dedicated to Steven, you know this stuff exists, join the military, get yourself put at one of these bases, and then just prove it for yourself, and then throw it in all our faces.
Dude, I'm literally going to be in the military. Like not like as a soldier, but whenever Steven is exalted, I will be there with you. And we can together. Like my job for the military is to tell you about the military's job, which is what they're already
Your
doing.
job in the military is to tell me about the military job.
Right. Things that you don't know about, that you haven't bothered to look into yourself.
Like what a
Always
TM
trying to
is?
find excuses to not look into, even though I've given plenty of documentation. Here, I'll do some
What kind of military? Look, but just because you buy a pair of Doc Martens doesn't mean you're fucking in any kind of military, man.
So okay, I love this. I should go to bed, but I'm thoroughly enjoying this. So what rank would you be? Let's pick Army, since I like the Army.
I
What
haven't been
rank
given
would
a
you
rank. I haven't been given a rank other than as
He'd
lieutenant
be an
augment
officer.
for the
He'd be an
living God,
officer. Yeah.
which the military
Okay, so
serves.
just there's already ranks set up. You don't have to worry about making a new one, right?
That's
So
what I'm saying. I have not been given a rank. My job for the military now is to tell you about what the military is already doing so that whenever they show you, I can be there with you, helping you.
Jesus.
Okay? It's just about acknowledging about what they're already doing. Like it's not that complicated stuff.
Yeah, I
Like there's
mean,
border
Hermes is
security
just a
issues.
PR
There's no
guy.
overturning of border
What
security.
part don't you
Yeah,
get, motherfucker? He's just PR.
yeah,
so
PR.
you're just PR. So you're just hanging out around the battalion area, just kind of directing traffic, telling people what to do.
Exactly.
Hey man, don't laugh, dude. What do you do for a living, motherfucker?
Yeah, because no
Jesus,
idea.
man. Don't laugh at these fucking office profession or
I'm
whatever.
so sorry. That is rude. You're right. I'm just.
It's okay if it's funny to you. It just means that
It's
the
hilarious.
job that you thought that your bosses were doing doesn't end at the border of America. It extends to them ultimately working, cooperating with the entire world to move people to another
Well,
country.
yeah,
for
they're.
catechism.
Oh, shit. Well, yeah, if they're part of ForestCom, obviously their job extends a little bit past U.S. borders.
Mm-hmm.
So, what unit would you get stationed at?
Okay, just so you know, there's no fucking way that you're going to be heading any military my son is in.
I
No
think you
fucking
could.
way. I will pull him out of the military. I will. No, you're crazy.
No,
But
look,
Molly,
don't
when
doubt his
Steven's
abilities,
exalted,
right?
it just
He'd be
makes sense that his
perfect as
right hand
sergeant
man
major.
would be in charge.
Look, when you tell people this bullshit, tell them that you are going to be the most badass sergeant major ever.
Oh my gosh. What do you know about the military? Hamis?
Just what I've
Oh,
told you.
nothing.
So,
All I know is that we
don't
have.
you think it would behoove you to actually, I don't know, get ready? Maybe educate yourself on being the boss of
I literally am
military?
educating myself and you on the parts that matter, which is that the
You're
military.
educating me. No, I was in the
The
military.
point
I
is
don't
that you
need
don't
you
need
to
to know
educate
everything
me.
that about what's in the military. You just need to know that their job is to protect you, and they have a goal to
So
protect you in another country.
my
Using methods
and
of transportation.
job to protect you. That's why we joined the military. Not the
Right. The
other way
point is
around.
protecting people. Like it's not like
Yeah.
I don't need to know how people are ranked or whatever, because that's not going to be my job. War is going to end. Like it's going to be reorganized entirely. The purpose is that all of the world's governments are getting together for the sake of a new world order. That's
New
the only
world
part
order.
that matters.
What
Um,
about Zimbabwe?
Yeah, what does the military matter to an all-powerful deity that's
You
coming
need a
to power?
military to have power. The exertion
No,
of
you
power.
don't.
God has an army.
Stop. Why
That's what
does
the
Hold on,
interdependent
God?
I
relationship
do have a
between
question,
Stop.
Hermes. Who is
is.
funding this
Why
shit, man?
does
I mean,
God
I
have
want to
to have
know
a
if you don't
military?
have
Shut
like a
up, Jason.
church.
Why
Uh-oh.
does
Shut the fuck
God
up,
have to
Molly.
have
It's
a
called the
If you don't
military?
have like
relationship
a
of
church,
creation.
how
Fucking
is this
swear
shit getting
something.
funded, Hermes? Go
Medium.
ahead.
Right.
The medium of
Why
proper relationship with God is their surrender, cooperation, and obedience. So that embodies itself as an army. If there is no like polarizing argument, then it doesn't represent as an army, it represents as a happy kingdom. But if there is a
does
polarizing
God
argument,
need
then
a
it represents itself
military?
as
Resources.
an
You
army.
need resources and money and machinery and
Not
everything. Who is
money.
funding? What do
Money's
you mean
the
not
issue.
money? You need resources, man.
Money's going to
Resources.
be
You need
overturned.
gasoline. You
Resources
need
you need,
fucking
not money. You need resources,
what?
not money. That's the point.
Who
Which
has
means
money?
we're
Who's
gonna.
funding this shit? If your church is not big enough, if fucking Stephen Christ, rich is not fucking reaching millionaires and shit that they are funding him,
It is though.
who
Donald
is
Trump is a
fucking
millionaire.
funding this military?
It is reaching
What?
millionaires.
Jesus,
North
man.
Korea, South
I don't think
Korea,
they're that
Donald
dumb.
Trump. North Korea,
Come on,
South
man.
Korea, Donald Trump,
Who
the
is
NSA,
a
the United
what?
Nations,
He
literally the
threatened to
entire
kill.
Freemasonic organization.
He threatened to kill Trump,
He
his
threatened to
main
kill him.
fucking funder,
He
man.
I
What the
killed
said
fuck's wrong with you?
multiple. I said multiple times that the threat was a staged threat for the sake of us being able to have this conversation, so you can comprehend the polarity of the situation.
Jesus Christ.
Like obviously, he doesn't actually want to kill Trump. Like
Please
it's
go.
part of the
So
mess to
Trump is
polarize the
funding this
message.
shit. Oh, okay,
Shut
interesting.
him,
Yeah,
He didn't have to threaten
Trump and
Trump for you
other
to
people.
come onto Discord and talk to us.
Jesus,
So it's if this now the whole him getting arrested thing, which is weird because Trump would be a part of the chain of command for the secret army, which again is really weird. But okay, we'll just brush that underneath the rug because we're just
So that he
believing
can
bullshit.
preach to the. It's so that he can preach to the prisoners in prison and lead captivity captive.
Oh, so he can preach.
Set the standard
So he can preach to the
relating to it.
prisoners. That's why he went to prison. Man, it's not for all
Yeah.
the free butt sex.
He's
I
not in
got me.
prison yet. Is he preaching to
I
the
didn't
crazy
know.
people?
Yeah, I didn't know they didn't let visitors into prisons. That's news.
He's not in prison.
Peter Wed says Hermes is a secret rear admiral. Akeem says governments get together for a nebula. Can't even governments agree to get off fossil fuel.
Right.
Those
Are
are the
you?
people that the order government is going to overturn power away from. The people who like assassinate astronomers for witnessing that the galactic equator is the same place every year. Those are the people who arrogate influence through money and traffic children through the deep underground military bases in America. But the NSA has been flushing them out for the past couple years. And so soon all this information is about to be exposed in the media, but they had to do it slowly, otherwise it would traumatize everyone.
Well, are you worried about global warming?
Well, I mean, the sun is going to intensify in heat sevenfold, but that's not by anything humans do.
Sevenfold is too hot for me.
Right, which is why we have
Yeah.
to go underground before this happens and the ornaments of heaven dissolve with fervent heat and fall. Not sure. There's a solar eclipse in 2028 right over Australia. And Stephen says there's going to be a solar eclipse when the sun stops, so that seems about right. Martial law will probably, or at least the recognizing of the seal, like the revealing of it, probably have to be made this year, Stephen thinks. 11/13, November 13th might be the day.
So if it doesn't happen on that day, does that invalidate what Steven said?
No, it's just an expectation.
So then he's not really prophetic, then, is he?
Well, it's one prophecy, multiple expectations.
Yeah. So you can just spread out bullshit over, a longer period of time, but you can, less chance it'll be invalidated.
I mean, sure, only 8 people survived the flood of Noah, but we're hoping to save more than that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, if it comes to pass, which probably won't because it's bullshit, but that's fine. We'll avoid having any type of criteria that would actually, add as maybe a falsification for it, because why not? We like, entertaining delusions. That's cool.
Hermes, but I gotta give it to you, man. I mean, you do give answers to everything, even though it is pretty absurd. You find an answer to everything, and
He
that is
does.
quite amazing.
He does. Like he
Yeah, yeah.
bullshits pretty good. I really have to give him that. That like if he was a bit more vague, then I wouldn't call him out on shit, right? If he was more vague, because he knew
It's
good
about
and
a
goddamn well he didn't know what a
message.
TM is. He knew that there was no TM for no fucking maglev.
There
And he knew
is.
I was gonna call him
I
out on
sent
it.
you
But what's weird is
as soon
that
as you
he'd
don't want
already seen and referenced the conversation I had with Steven and then fell into the same fucking hole that Steven did.
No, Dragna, I brought up that hole, actually. I'm the one who brought it up because I acknowledged who you were.
That's why it
The
was a
distinction is,
dumb fucking
the
tactic, my
distinction
man.
is,
You should have learned.
Dragna, the distinction is, for a fact that there are trademarks on things like vac sealed tubes and maglev trains. They already exist. It doesn't matter whether or not it's underground or not. I sent you multiple documents confirming there are underground ones. You just want to look for
And we look
excuses.
at them,
You have to
and
look
they're
for
not applicable to the conspiracy that you said. So
They are literally applicable. It's just a vac sealed tube
that's
with a
cool. Then
maglev
find me the
train
TM.
inside.
Cool. If
It's
they were
not
applicable, then you would have been
It's
able to
not
find me that
difficult
TM.
to make the connection, Dragna. There's Pine Gap,
Okay, so
Australia,
you would have been
underground
able
base.
to find me the TM
The only
and the
way to
MTO.
travel mass resources over a continent will be underground because a plane would be more expensive. You literally said that, so that's the rationalization for why it exists. You literally
So
brought that
you would
up.
have been able to find me the TM and the MTO for it if it existed.
I sent you plenty of stuff. I haven't stopped looking because I've been
You
distracted
didn't
by work.
find those two critical things that every other project in the military has. It's
You don't
really
know that
weird.
that the link that I sent doesn't have a trademark. You just said it's because it's not on every page.
I didn't
Therefore,
say anything about a trademark, did I?
You literally said TM, trademark. That's what TMs means.
Technical manual, you dunce. Come on, man. Like, it's just, I even referenced the field litter ambulance one and put a link to it. It was a picture. Come on. Like, you can't be
And I
this
sent the
dense.
technical manual,
Please tell
trademark
me
and all.
you are not.
I sent a
I did just say
trademark
anything
technical
about a
manual.
trademark, man.
That's a
I asked
double
you for the
TM. I
TM
sent a
for
double
the
TM,
maglev.
Dragna. I sent a double TM, and you're pretending I didn't.
Oh my
The
goodness.
trademarked technical manual.
The trademark technical manual.
That's why it's so absurd that you're debating this. Because it's a technical manual.
This guy is really
He is quick with the bullshit. I will give him that. I sent you a double TM. So show me the TM on the TM. If you sent it, I must have missed it. What? Actually, just tell me the number of the TM and I'll go find it. The technical manual, by the way, just so we're clear. Send me the number for the technical manual so I can see the trademark. What page is it on? It's a lot of silence.
Hermes, just say you got me, bro. You got me. Just accept it, man. You're not going to lose anything. Come on, just be honest. I mean, you
He
fucked
asked
up.
the
That's
question.
fine.
I said 1 sec. I'm searching for it. Hold on. I'm
He
gonna
has to
show him
find
the
it. It's
technical
okay.
manual trademark number, and he's gonna eat his fucking words.
I said,
Oh,
send me.
holy shit,
now,
man! This is good, man.
Now, what did I ask you for, Hermes?
The WTM.
I asked you for the technical manual number. Did I not? It's a yes or no question.
I said I'm busy. Stop distracting me. I can only have one tab open at once.
Oh, this is gonna be good, man. I mean, could
You
you
asked
imagine
him
if
for the
that was the actual
technical
case?
manual number, not the trademark. And then you asked him what page it's on in the technical manual, so that you could see the trademark technical manual.
Yo, man, I heard you like some TM on your TM, so I put some TMs on your technical manual so you can read me the TM numbers.
That's about like equal to what he just like. It's just my mind's so full of fuck right now. Like he's really trying. I'll
Yeah,
give
yeah,
him
I
that.
let
Like,
Hermes. I mean,
he's
it's going to be
really actually
worse if you
trying.
don't accept this, man. I mean, just say, hey, man, yeah, I misheard. I whatever. But don't fucking try to push this, man. Come on, you're not going to die on this.
So this is like fucking Hermes' like coach or whatever. He's like got the towel. He's putting the fucking like the whatever, the petroleum jelly on his eyebrows so he doesn't keep bleeding. He's like got the Q-tip and shit.
Yeah, man. Just listen. Nobody's going to mock you or anything. I mean, it is going to be worse if you sustain something that is obviously a fuck up. I mean, nobody's going to mock you. Maybe Lance in Dragna because they are assholes, but nevertheless.
He didn't learn from his master.
Well,
Hermes, are trademarks usually found in TMs? I'm curious. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. You were opening one tab at a time, so I'm sorry.
Windows has a cool function where if you drag the window to half of the screen, it'll let you fill the other half with some other bullshit you're looking up.
Oh, you can look at like two bullshits at the same time?
come on. There's just don't be like that. Come on.
Supposedly there's a like a fucking manual on how to survive as fucking zombie apocalypse. I can't remember what it is. I'll have to find it, but supposedly it actually exists.
I bet it does. I bet it does.
Yeah, the guy who wrote it wrote World War Z.
Well, zombie apocalypse is actually really good training for them because it like knocks out cellular, it damages water supply, there's fires, there's all sorts of stuff all at once. There's like medical supply shortages. So they just actually use it as like an all-in-one like emergency training for some of these groups.
Fighter did provide something in the chat. I don't know what it is, but it has to do with TM.
What are you losers talking about?
Oh, just a supplicant of Lord Stephen Christ trying to bullshit people. So if you look up CONOP 8888, that is the training manual for zombie apocalypse survival. It is an official Army document.
Oh. Is Doobie really giving $50 a month to the server?
Who?
Doobie.
Oh, Doobie.
To which server? His server or our server?
This server.
He's donating 50 a month as like a Patreon.
Either 30 or 50.
Wow.
Because he has the title most important person in the server. And I think that goes to the person who's donating the most money.
Nice. That's cool that he's supportive, considering like how much we praise blue politics around here. He must really appreciate that.
How he knows his server's garbage.
It's because we're becoming blue politics V2.
I already know that that's Orson, even if I didn't recognize the voice.
So I just had to get that out, even though I'm meeting.
Right. Have you
So
come up
right
with
now we're
any
waiting for
justification for that claim?
It's self-evident. Just look around you.
Hermes, we waiting, man? We're waiting? Do you want us to continue waiting, or do you want us to move it along to another?
Yeah.
He's praying to Lord Stephen to give him an answer.
He'll get an answer in 5 to 6 years, depending on his good behavior.
They have a psychic connection. You didn't know that? Once you get the seal, you can communicate with Stephen directly.
That's neat.
If you ingest the semen, I mean, it's even faster. Yep, I think he's about had it for the night. All right, folks. It was nice talking. Let me know if any more supplicants come in, and I'll beat them over the head with a penis. Y'all have a good night.
Yeah.
Yeah, you too, man. Peace. Sophia, what do you think about all this? What's your opinion?
I haven't been listening, gonna be honest.
I just posted evidence
Was about what, man?
about
Evidence
rails underground bunkers.
About what in underground bunkers?
Let's look at it. You guys are smart enough.
I didn't hear the initial claim.
Is that an EM number? It's not a TM number, but that's an
Oh my
EM
God,
number
this server.
that I see there. I'm gonna reverse Google search that EM number, see if I find anything.
Just stop it, Hermes. Come on, man.
Is this conspiracy hour? Is that it?
No, it is friend hour. Brenda?
Hermes, this is a technical manual. You can actually look at the whole thing.
It's cult hour.
It's actually not conspiracy.
Isn't that like usually the case?
No typical cults around here.
We got rails. What are rails? Railroad tracks? Obviously aliens, because humans are just not capable of making tracked vehicles on rails.
Well, you're the scholar on paranormal shit. You know all about it, don't you?
No, I don't.
Yes, you have been within, flat Earth communities and talking to people about this. And you're
There's a
aware.
technical manual that Fighter just sent.
Well, those people exist, but sure. I don't know everything about conspiracy theories.
No, but you know their arguments, and where they're
For
coming
flat
from, the
Earth,
documents. Yeah.
for flat Earth, but not for the other stuff. There's all kinds of
Oh.
stuff.
No one here is debating flat Earth. I don't even know what you guys are debating. I was just responding to our previous conversation about looking for TM numbers, and the Dragnot left before I could find it. But
What is
you
it?
found
What is it?
right
What is a TM
after.
number?
Dragnot was asking for a technical manual number in reference to a designs that the government would publicly announce is recognized that they're making and producing, and like have a
Making and
manual for it,
producing what?
so that we can know that they're doing it. I don't know what you mean by flat. We're not talking about flat Earth.
What is it the government is making and producing?
Oh, magnetic levitating trains or maglev trains underground,
Oh, okay.
connecting the continents.
Maybe. Who knows?
I
Do
was
you have
just trying to
actually? Do
bring
you
that
have
up
any
earlier.
evidence? Do you have any evidence?
Yeah, I linked it earlier. A bunch of it actually.
No,
The
no.
Dragnot was trying to say it wasn't
Evidence.
substantial enough. The Dragnot was trying to say it wasn't substantial enough because it didn't
Yeah.
have a technical manual number, but Fighter just sent a technical
Yeah,
manual.
you need like actual evidence, like photographs.
Well, yeah, the original evidence I sent was photographs, but he said because it wasn't a technical manual, somehow that's not evidence, which seems backwards now that you're saying it that way. I agree. I sent photos at first, and he was like, "Oh, that's not evidence."
Well, photos would be a beginning. I mean, anybody can fake photos. I mean, so they.
Right. So that's why we sent the technical manual.
How would a technical manual prove anything?
Well, I mean, it just shows we're building it. That the government
Well,
sponsors
it shows we're building something.
A maglev train underground.
Why wouldn't you use maglev? That's the most recent technology. What do you think the United States wouldn't use something so advanced?
Yeah, but that doesn't prove you are in command of that, Hermes, or that
It's
Stephen
possible.
Christ,
Either.
or that it is funded by fucking Trump to lead the army of whatever people Steve has. Come on.
I mean, it's possible that the United States has a vast network of underground tunnels. Sure, that's possible.
Well, not
but
it is
simply
not only
having
possible,
a technical.
it is real.
No, you don't know that. So
No,
having a
there's
technical.
reporting on it.
You
It's
know there
certain.
isn't.
We also have
Mainstream
documentation of them affirming that they've been trucking food down there for decades. We know that.
Yeah, the government plans for like nuclear attacks and shit.
Exactly. And so that's my only argument
Yeah.
that I've ever said since like past week I've been in here, that the government is
Yeah.
preparing because they have cognizant foresight, intuition, perspicacity, just like I do, to understand that this cataclysm is how the kingdom of God will be set up.
No, they don't believe that.
Well, I believe that's why they created your Bible and gave it to you.
And nobody created the Bible.
It was created.
It was created by a number of people.
Who's they? Who's they that created
It was
the Bible?
created over a period
I'm
of
not
like
saying it was evil people.
1,000 years
Yeah,
by
humanity
multiple
culture.
authors.
Humanity culture has the foresight of cataclysm shepherding the people, divide and conquer. That's what it
No,
facilitates our comprehension.
You're just speaking words.
It's literally just about a sectioning, shepherding cataclysm. That's all the Bible is ever pointing to.
When
No.
you say sectioning, what do you mean by
Sectioning, as in sheep on one side, goat on the other side.
Stuck in the
Yeah,
middle.
like every religion. Yeah, there's the saved and the unsaved, the ins and the outs. Sure, that's every religion.
Right. And I'm saying religion comes from humanity about the relationship with God, because they know the relationship with God is going to reach a zenith of actualization, completion.
Religion comes from human impulses and desires for
The word
things
religion-
larger than themselves.
The word
and
religion is
based
ligament
on
to God.
based
The
on
etymology-
superstitious beliefs and
The etymology of religion is ligament to God. So the only ligament to God is Him relating to you and giving you a covenant.
yeah, we
Everything
don't
else
prove
is
things
ritual.
by words.
So what I'm saying is, you take the words of the Bible as the words of God because they were given as a covenant in relation to man, as in inspired, meaning you can value it because of its cultural relevance to the
Yeah, the
section
Bible
shepherding
has
cataclysm.
the Bible is culturally relevant and it's a
Right.
great work. It's a great work of literature, but
And
it's
our
not,
culture
but it's not
gave you
real.
that.
It's fiction.
Right. It's about a binary thing. Mankind wrote that for you and gave it to you
No, mankind isn't a
condition
thing.
you to prepare you for cataclysm.
No, mankind isn't a person. People wrote it.
I'm not saying
Mankind
an
doesn't
individual
write books.
person. You're the one making that distinction. I'm literally
Man-
saying mankind gave you a book to prepare for a binary
No.
comprehension.
That's wrong because mankind doesn't write books. It doesn't paint paintings, and it doesn't.
You're being
write
obtuse.
symphonies.
You're being obtuse.
No,
and you know it.
mankind doesn't do those things. People do
Yes,
those.
it does.
No, it doesn't.
Humanity, people.
Yes.
People means humanity.
Yes. Humanity doesn't do anything.
I could say the exact same thing to you and say people don't do things. That's generalizing all people. Specific people do things.
No, yes, that's what I
person-
said.
Right, exactly. And I'm saying it's not just an individual person, just like you just said.
No,
It's
it
multiple
is
people
just an
over
it
multiple
is just an individual
time,
person.
like over time. And so that's what I'm saying. It's only about one thing, a binary sectioning, about one cultural synthesis.
We're not gonna. We're
It's
not
not
gonna
about
do this
anything else.
again. We're not gonna do this again. We've heard this particular line of proselytization.
It's the only
about,
line of thought
50,000
about it. People always try to derail and act like that's
Now,
not what
from
the
you,
Bible is
Hermes,
about.
we've had some good conversations asking about finer points and stuff, but that we're crossing over into the script, and I don't think that's of any use to anybody.
Well, you don't seem to know the difference between a category and a thing, right? So
No, you're just being obtuse about it and pretending I don't.
Compartmentalizing everything.
Things, categories of things don't do things. They're just abstract thoughts. They're just ideas. People do things. Individual things do things. But categories don't do
Actually,
things.
individual things could not do anything except for the wider environment and circumstance
So
embodying their actions. So I could say literally the exact same thing about you. You're being obtuse between the distinction between
No, you're
categories and
just-
thing because you are trying to derail.
I'm not
It's
trying
a
to
simple
derail.
binary argument about what the Bible is about. And we all know what we've been talking about is the shepherding, sectioning, corralling, judgment. Standard set by one word.
Don't do it.
It's not about anything else. The Bible was written with words, and the Bible will end with words.
It was written by multiple people over thousands of years.
Right, and I said that.
Right, with different motives, different understandings, different languages. Right. So there
Synthesizing
isn't
one thing.
there isn't a single message.
Right, which is why you can get rid of Leviticus, Deuteronomy 22:5, 1 Timothy 1:10, which all ban homosexuality. You can get rid of that shit.
Whoa! Why do you
Because
focus on that all?
it was written by men about their cultural expectations of the time. And all of their cultural expectations is about, setting the law straight between what is righteous and not, virtue. It's people's judgment standards. So you can agree or disagree with certain things, but it always has to be embodied by an avatar, a word that speaks them, which is why you need a shepherd, a living one, has blood running
No.
through his veins.
No, I don't need a shepherd.
You need one to write the fucking Bible.
I don't need a shepherd.
Oh, Brenda is well prepared, man.
I know
She
you don't
doesn't
believe
need
in the Bible. I know you don't believe in the value of a shepherd corralling for a kingdom for the sake of the baby in the
She's
crib.
not
I
a
know you don't believe
sheep,
that, but
dude.
that's what I'm
Who
advocating
wrote
for.
the Bible, Hermes? Who wrote the Bible?
A bunch of people.
That's what Brenda just said.
Yeah.
A bunch of people,
It's
and then it
just a
was
bunch of
compiled
people.
and synthesized for a modern era by people who have cognitive foresight about what the Bible is about.
Right, and a bunch of Jews, goat herders.
Like, the King James Version Bible, the recompiled version of the Bible. Like, it's compiled, redistributed to send a particular message.
Yeah, it's
At the
political.
time, it was,
It's a political
Yeah, right. I mean,
document.
it's
It's
been
a political
manipulated to be
document.
pro-Roman and
Human beings picked and chose which books would go in and which would stay out.
right, because it used to be pro-Rome, where they would take out the parts which were pro-Rome. After the Roman and Jewish War, in which Josephus of the Jews sold out his people
They had
and caused them all to commit
they had
suicide.
various
Frustrated with the way the Bible turned out.
beliefs that had agendas. It's people
Do you know what the
getting in a
Do you know what the
committee
Jewish and Roman
and
Holy War
what?
was? Do you know what the Jewish and Roman Holy War was 30 years after Jesus' crucifixion, when James, Jesus' brother, was stoned, kickstarting that Holy War? Do you know how one of the Jewish scribes of the 12 priesthood sold out all of his brothers when they were kidnapped by the Roman
This
emperor?
is just
They were put in a cave, and this Jewish scribe told the Roman emperor that he was favored in God's sight and convinced all of his Jewish allies to commit suicide. He alone remained and then rewrote
was
the book of
Jesus?
Luke. I'm saying Jewish person sold out the Jews and made it pro-Roman.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
in our
Was
history book. He even writes this specifically.
was
He says that I sold out my brothers,
yeah
and that Rome
was
was what God wants.
Was Jesus Hufflepuff or Gryffindor?
He was Slytherin.
Thank you for that,
Would it
Brenda.
surprise you
Thank
if it was Slytherin?
Thank you, Brenda.
No, this is just Harry Potter stuff, dude. This is
Oh,
just
I know. It's
yeah.
all
Dude, do you know your fucking like history? Did you not go to school?
Plot twist:
Yes,
the crown of
I
thorns
was-
was the first Sorting Hat.
Oh my god. Oh my god. That's awesome.
Like I'm saying, the Bible,
Sorting Hat.
the reason it talks about the mark of the beast as a bad thing in Revelation is because it was rewritten by Romans who are arrogating influence through usury and mammon, through the Federal Reserve. That's literally the whole the reason that clandestine code of the
Hermes.
beast.
Clandestine code.
Hermes.
Clandestine meaning hidden, secret.
Hermes.
Esoteric.
Are you seeing a doctor for your transitioning?
No.
Oh fuck.
I'm trans, and I would really recommend to you that you talk to a doctor about transitioning.
Oh fuck.
I've talked to plenty of trans people who think I don't need to talk to a doctor
I
about
understand, and it's just my opinion, but I would recommend it. That would make me happy. It's a really good idea to get to have
I've already
a
purchased
therapist,
everything I need, so
a
I don't
therapist
need
who
to
can
go
guide
through
you, a therapist who can give you advice and guide you through the process.
You already purchased
Yeah,
what?
I mean, I got friends for that. I'm fine. I don't need a
Says he's
prescription, so I already
purchased
purchased all
everything
of
he
my
needs for the process.
Where'd you get the prescription for it? Oh fuck.
What's your prescription? Are you using pills or transdermals?
pills
I have
and
I have
transdermal.
transdermal patch. I have a transdermal patch.
I have cream for my breasts, or it's coming in, but also pills. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's good. It's really good idea to have a community that you can talk to. It would be great because then you could go to like a group, and you could talk to other trans women and trans men who are in the group, and they can give you
I have that.
advice because they're people that have been through it before.
And the reason I was invited here is for the Claire. Remember that?
I understand. And I understand why people invite you here, but I have a different agenda. And my agenda is that I want people who transition to do so in a healthy and safe way. That's my
I appreciate
agenda.
that.
Use protection. Or you'll end up.
My mom genes are kicking in big time. No, I mean it, Hermes. I don't have a problem with the transition in it at all. I think that's fine if that's really what you want to do.
You're
But
trans, bro?
yes. So I would like it very much if you could talk to a therapist. That would be fantastic. That would make me feel a lot better. Yuri,
That's probably not
Yuri,
gonna
you
happen.
know that. Don't try to pretend.
No what?
What did you say, Yuri?
You know that I'm trans,
You
Yuri.
said that. Did you just say that being trans is irrational?
He's trolling or
Yeah, he's trolling.
whatever.
He's
I wanted
trolling.
to be sure it's what he said.
But Hermes,
I
let me
figured
ask you
he
something.
was.
Do you want to transition for yourself, or do you want to transition because Stephen told you?
Yeah, that's
They're one and the
concerning.
same.
That's concerning to me.
He wants to be your literal puppet.
Yeah, that's concerning to me.
It's up to you to become your own puppet.
See, the army break people down and then rebuild them so they're extra loyal. Sounds similar.
You
And
need to accept
also,
your symptoms.
that's where the term
and
brainwash
who you
comes
are
from,
and your brokenness.
where Jesus says, "I'm going to wash you clean." That's where the term brainwash comes from. So like all these words, stuff like calling someone a sheeple, Like that comes from biblical terminology. Like you would not try to shame someone for being a sheep unless you were trying to make an anti-biblical sentiment.
That's false.
What?
I mean, it's blatantly the idea of a sheep and a goat comes from the Bible.
Maybe the
Of
Bible
course, of
captured a
course.
version of that, but that that
The
ideology
Bible
has been
captures
around
it in
for
a
a lot longer
positive way. It's the only thing to capture it in a positive way. No other literature talks about being a sheep in a positive way. It's because it's a biblical message.
True, true.
Shut up, Tasteless.
No, it is a fact, man. I mean, come on. I mean, people are sheeps. We are lost, and there are shepherds who know the best way,
I'm not
and
a
they are
sheep.
going to guide us.
I'm
Yeah,
not a
well,
sheep.
yeah. No,
I'm an
you ain't no sheep,
amphibian.
man. That's
No,
for
I'm
sure.
not.
I'm
And
an
you
amphibian.
don't need. You're a shepherd. And I agree with
No,
that.
I'm a free woman on the land.
Well,
Some are goats, which ascend
yeah, that's of course.
Some are goats.
I'm
which
traveling. I'm
Some
traveling,
are goats.
officer. I'm traveling.
Some are goats which ascend steep cliffs to lap up the salt of the earth that
What?
the dam water brushes up against the sedimentary rock, creating. So
What?
what I'm saying
Where?
is,
Where does this happen?
I am the salt of the earth, and you need to lap me up.
Sorry, I've been keeping it
Inside of
together
the
this
steep
whole
cliff,
time. But what are you talking?
follow me.
Well, I prefer like flavored flavors rather than like
I prefer a nice sea salt.
yeah, like cherry, chocolate,
Ah, sorry, I've been
vanilla.
I've been really trying to keep from doing that, but that was
The goats who ascend too high beyond the salt, they fall off the side of the other edge.
Is there ice cream on the other edge?
Yeah,
No,
go
they
get it.
fall.
Will the ice cream break my fall?
No.
nope. The ice cream's not strong enough. You're gonna go right through.
But you'll get a brain freeze if you land in the ice cream. I hate brain freeze.
Ah. You have to
The
understand.
sheep is
I mean,
remarkable
Hermes.
for its harmless
You have
temper.
to understand why people would laugh at some of this stuff because it just when you string together these concepts just so randomly and just leading from one random concept to another, it takes
It's not
on.
really random.
It really is
Like I
though,
said,
but
it's
it can.
binary. And it's not random. It's very binary. These are concepts you know are in your head.
No wait. Binary has nothing to do with what you're just
Yes, it does.
referring
Sheep
to.
and goats too.
What do you mean by binary, man? Explain yourself.
As in
Expand.
duality, polarity, two, bifurcation, split into two, from one relative to one,
And
two.
you're going to talk
So the one
about
behind the sheep and goat on its
the
side
red shift at
comes
zenith.
left relative to right.
What do you mean by
You
binary?
can't serve God and money simultaneously. So another binary would be you can't serve God and money simultaneously.
I'm sorry, what?
The sheep is remarkable for its harmless temper and its timidity. So my temper, when I get slightly angry or annoyed, it's harmless. It is because of my intentions. Like if I didn't care about, what I was saying, then I wouldn't get angry.
So why is the concept duality so important to you in just about everything you speak?
Has he heard of the
Because
Munchausen's trilemma?
it implies the interdependent relationship of God and man and of God and goddess.
How is there a full category of
Right.
goat and sheep?
The words goat and sheep are used as steganographic messages to relay the idea
You're gonna have
of
to say that
how
again.
people who are for or against Christ are. So I became with the message of how the goats who ascend steep cliffs to lap at the salt of the earth, which happens at high altitudes, if they go too high, they'll fall off the other side, cast back down to the side of the edge of the pit, like Lucifer, like light from the center of heaven, cast down to the side of the edge
Oh
of
gosh.
the earth.
Right.
That's when you
You
start going.
try not to string too many sentences together at once. So how did you establish that's a binary category?
Because God made it one. Said you're either on my left or my right.
I thought you
Those on
said
my
that
left side are reserved for fire. Those on my right,
I thought you said that the Bible was written by
can be
men.
burned. Right.
Was
It was
it
written by people
divinely
about a binary sectioning.
was
They
it
knew that
divinely
someone was going to
inspired?
find the section because the word polarizes the ether. More than
Why
one
not
shepherd
just
scatters the sheep.
just
Therefore, there
answer
can
one
only be
question
one.
at a time rather than making inferences and gish galloping? So did the people who write it, were they divinely inspired?
Sorry, you cut out.
Were they divinely inspired, the authors?
That's what they say. That's what seems to be implied, because they're all talking about the same cataclysm. The emerald
So
tablets
yes.
of Thoth also mentions the ornaments of heaven dissolving with fervent heat.
What makes you think God is
So
real
does
then?
Mesopotamian religion,
Is
Egyptian
it
religion, Japanese religion.
Herman,
makes you
stop wandering around and answer the question.
what makes you think God is real, Hermes? I'm not even trying to run like a condescension on you right now. I'm just genuinely wondering what your position is. How do you know God is
That's fine. I was giggling at tasteless what he said, but
right? But it's
yeah,
frustrating
I mean,
because
why
I'm
do I believe
answering a
God
lot
is
of
real?
questions, which is like, okay, go ahead.
Because you live in a reproductive hierarchy.
That doesn't follow.
As in, you're inside the womb of the earth, and there's the coctahedron up in the center of heaven, which is inseminating the earth with electricity and energy.
Coctahedron.
And so
A coctahedron
first
is
there was the
inseminating.
Red Sea, the hermaphroditic mercurial solution, which divided the waters from the waters with a sickle of the celestial sphere, and sun-bull conduit relationship, which created the atmosphere with pressure. And so the first birthing mother goddess was Stephen before the flood.
Oh,
The father was the mother before he was the father.
So there's something projecting electrical energy to the earth. Is that right?
Yes. It's like, a positive and negative relationship.
What is that something that's projecting the energy?
The binary implies the relationship. The relationship implies your emptiness. The emptiness
Well,
implies the
relationship.
unity.
Hold on. No.
The unity
Don't
implies God.
gish gallop. Try answer one answer. One question. Like so, binary groups don't binary categories don't produce electricity. What's
A
producing the
positive and a
electricity?
negative charge implies a relationship. The relationship implies the emptiness of the individual objects apart from that relationship. The relationship implies a unity. The unity implies God.
Would you like to break down each inference? Because I just don't see how any of that follows.
Like, a positive and a negative charge, the reception of energy and the giving of energy. It's a double helix of information to and from the center point of view or reference. And outwards and then back towards to create a sphere of influence, a circular circuit. This is how you relate to the world around you. Is this energy.
Wait, so there's something. So what is it that's sending the electricity this way? Does it come from anywhere, or does it come from like this this idea, this
Yeah,
concept?
the thing that centers you that way is the metric itself, which it's through. So
But
whether or not it's your
I didn't
own
ask what
individual object, even itself.
I didn't ask what centers me. I asked how is the electricity coming from? Was it heaven to here?
Oh, how is it? I mean, just continuity and proximity. It could also originate from the center point in your heart or brain. Like it could be non-local that way, or it could come
That's
from
true.
a
That's true.
specific Cartesian coordinate.
Hermes is correct here.
Yeah.
I don't feel like you're answering my question. So I'm asking I'm trying to investigate the physical states of affairs or non-physical. You can answer in that way if you like to. So let's just in one step, just one word answer. Because I just wanted to clear this up before I ask my actual question, just to make sure I'm on the right track. This electricity, some of it's coming from heaven, yes?
This electricity is what? Sorry, you cut out.
Some of the electricity is coming from heaven. Is that correct?
Yes.
What can you just describe the scene? So for example, if we generated electricity, we would gather a coil and I don't like a magnet inside it and start spinning it, and like a turbine. Okay, I could describe a turbine to you. So what is the state of affairs in heaven? What is like the scientific makeup? What's the objects that are there, which is creating that electricity, which is sending it to us?
It is a hollow octahedral quadrupole made of magnetite. So hollow, as in inside of it, there's the central dipolar primer field.
Okay, that's
and
fine, but
is enveloped by two pyramids connected, or a north and south pyramid connected by four corners, which has a empty gate for light to converge there, 23.4 and 23.4 positive and negative of the equator.
how do you know it's there?
Canadian meteor orbit radar imagery makes a octahedral shape.
Could you
There's
post that?
six sporadic origin. Yeah, there are six sporadic origin points to all sporadic meteors. Let me send the photo. I have a GIF, but I'll just send the photo now because the GIF is only accessible through video. I can also send the link to the actual original source, the NASA sources for it.
Hermes, why do Indian guys hit on women so much on Facebook?
I don't know. Another reason is that there's something called octahedrites, and when you split them up, like you cut them in half, there are octahedral shapes lined up, like across from each other, like lined up all the way across. The base crystal habit of magnetite is octahedral. The base crystal habit of diamond is octahedral. So the idea is that the hollow tent is formed up in the center, repelling away from counter space, due to pressure. So it's all the densest elements are accumulating in the center, as well as towards the edge. And there's an equilibrium in the center in the middle between the very center point and the outermost edge, where the SDO and ISS and stuff can levitate, because it's directly in between air pressure from both sides, because it's converging and diverging from the center to the center. So there's equilibrium.
Right. So, I haven't been particularly listening because I was kind of busy. But we can just start where we left off almost. So you posted a picture. So how do we understand that this is coming from that octahedral machinery or whatever it is?
So there's there's 6 points. There's a north toroid, a south toroid, and then there's the helion and the anti-helion.
I don't see the south one.
It's not as bright as the north one, but in the GIF,
It's not only is it not bright, it's just not there on that picture.
It's clearly there, but I'm saying in the GIF it fluctuates. I can send you the video too, like its brightness, and it shows like the meteoroids shooting out from the side. But they say the helion and anti-helion are coming from the sun and away from the sun, but it's not just in 2 points. It's actually like all along the equator throughout the year. Like, doesn't matter what side the sun is on. So
which one is the helion and which one is the anti-helion?
Helion is from the sun side, anti-helion is anti-solar.
Well, so now I'm not 100% sure about your entire worldview, because now you said that the ISS levitates. I'm wondering if you think the Earth is flat at this point.
No, you live inside the concave womb of the Earth, inside this ball.
Oh, inside a ball?
Yeah.
Right, so I need you to describe the shape to me.
So like a bubble?
So so it's a sphere, but we live on the inside surface.
The continental shelving is risen above the outermost metal, it's risen within the outermost metal rind. So it can appear flat to flat earthers, but it's actually inside of a sphere.
So therefore, if we traveled straight up, I would get to Australia, for example.
Yeah, but you'd have to get through 4 layers of glass. Well, actually 8, because you go through first to the center and then bust through, them again. We have 4 layers of concentric spheres, bubbles of glass enveloping inner space, rotating at different speeds away from each other at different frequencies.
Right, can you post the source for this picture?
For the Canadian Meteor Orbit Radar, yeah. I was looking, I got distracted talking to you. Hold on.
My next move, and you can answer it whenever you please, is this image doesn't necessarily go against the heliospheric model, as far as I know.
Well, yeah, the idea is that they're saying that they're inverting it from a convex Earth and making it look like, because I mean, obviously every point at zenith is going to make a celestial sphere on a ball or inner ball. It doesn't matter. The idea is, what do you think is more believable to you? I can validate every claim I make, but people always can point to the heliocentric explanation for it, like why comets are split into two different like trails, two different colored trails between iridium and the other element.
So now
I think
we're
it's
at
more explained
the
by tangent glass enveloping the comet.
now it's so you've kind of admitted there then that, so this is what I was kind of digging for all along. That's why I asked you, do you have any evidence of this contraption in heaven that's sending electronic signals to us, is because I assumed that you wouldn't have like a photo of it, etc. So I was wondering, at what point does your evidence not actually contrast like a normal worldview?
Yeah, there are
And
binary arguments that I can make. Like if I start the argument, I can say, all right, so here's what heliocentrists say, and here's why it can't work because of something that you wouldn't know.
so you
unless I
you
told
don't you don't know any of this.
Well, I
This
know.
is
That's what I'm saying. I can make a binary argument for reasons why heliocentrism does not work. But the
well, just
Canadian
because
meteorological radar is not a binary argument. What I'm saying is,
heliocentrism is false doesn't mean that there are other models that are not true.
well, I also have binary arguments for flat Earth as well. It depends
What
on
do you
who I'm
mean by a
talking to.
binary? What do you mean by
As
a
in,
binary argument?
as in one thing you can recognize as being the distinction between what makes one model true and one model not. So, like, say
But
for
the
instance,
problem is it might not be a dichotomy. It might not be that it might not be the case that it's either the flat Earth or the model you're going with. I mean, sorry, heliospheric or the model you're. It could be
sometimes it's
flat
definitely.
Earth.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Flat earthers try to debunk the globe, but they don't debunk concavity. Globers try to debunk flat Earth, but they don't debunk concavity. They
Right, but
only get halfway
you're
there.
missing the point here, though. It could be a turtle. It could be a balloon.
That's what I'm saying. Flat and
Turtles all
globe
the
is
way
a
down.
false dilemma. Both are wrong. Then flat earthers can disprove convex Earth. Convexers can disprove flat Earth, but they can't prove their own model. That's the thing. I can prove my model
Oh,
because it has
that's a
the
nice
things that are
claim.
right about convex Earth with bending light and a spherical celestial sphere, but it has things right about flat Earth, which is long distance observations. So like it has best of both worlds. So it's the synthesis, it's a Hegelian dialectic, like from thesis, antithesis, then synthesis. It's the same idea with the Antichrist concept, like the idea of an evil mark of the beast, Satan, who rules the material world, is the
Wait,
antithesis,
what does
the
that have?
original
Wait.
thesis.
What does that have to do with proving a physical model?
I'm just explaining the Hegelian dialectic. If you want me to go into the binary argument for why the Earth is not flat or convex, I can go into that.
Right, but I don't want that. I want the argument for why it is your model, not why it is not other people's models.
And the reason that it is definitely spherical concave is because we have proof of positive inclination to the water's boundary within 10 miles. And it's not a swell or a wave because it's a calm lake. And so the boundary of water is perpendicular to pressure inside of a sphere. So a barge in the distance will be 20 feet positive in inclination. It's not expanding both directions either due to the pushback pull forward P900
Wait,
effect
but
either.
we
The light is
see
intercepting the top
we see
side of the
ships
lens
go
either.
over.
Disappear over the horizon.
We see ships disappear over the
Right,
horizon.
that's the premature occlusion due to light lifting away from the Earth.
You're going to need to
You can
explain
bring
what
a ship
that
back
is.
into sight when you zoom in with the camera or rise in altitude, proving that your line of sight is affected by the light converging with your eye.
I don't think
from
that's
further
true.
in the distance.
It's not true.
That's not true. Can you prove? Can you
Literally, if you
demonstrate
rise
that?
in altitude after a sunset, you can see the sunset again. That's the proof. You're seeing light from further
Can
away.
you?
Yeah,
lifting
that's
away from
proof
you.
of globe.
Can
That's
you?
proof of curvature.
No, I'm
Can
saying it's proof
you?
of extended light. That's all it's
Can you
proof of.
demonstrate that rather than just saying it's true? Have you got evidence for that?
Yeah, when you rise in altitude after the sun sets, even only 2 feet, Like if you're laying on your belly and you jump up really quick, you can see the sunset again.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's curvature. But you were saying that if you zoom in with a
That is
camera,
just
you see
slight
it again.
movement and being occluded
No,
by
sorry.
an
Don't.
inclination of Earth. That's
You
all it's proof of.
you
That's
you might be
distinction from the binary argument you're saying.
it's really I'm struggling to hear you right now. Like, so you said that zooming in with a camera brings the sun back over the, quote unquote horizon. Can you provide evidence of that,
boat,
please?
not the sun. I said a boat. The sun's too far away for that.
Okay, then a boat. Let's do a boat. Can you provide evidence of that?
Yes.
We will
I'll send you a link right
assess
now.
the
I'll also
evidence.
show that this will be simultaneously the evidence for positive inclination as well, because when he brings it back into sight, not only does it lift, but it lifts higher than the boat in the foreground. So one sec.
Also, just on a side note, although I don't think this is going to be a problem, if it does do exactly as you say, where it would be higher in zoomed in than it was in the foreground, then we would need to look at multiple sources to kind of verify if that source was legitimate. As in, we would need to try and falsify it. But it'd be really good to see your source.
Isn't Eric Dubay a flat earther, Tasteless?
Yes, he is.
Why would you use him?
All right, so there's a playlist from one of my good friends, Joshua Bolliero, and his P900 footage. He's got multiple different videos on the same lake showing different things. It's a playlist that I linked. You can already see the thumbnail of that video is showing what I mean by positive inclination of the barge. And if it was just light, because the camera's right on the water, so it's like touching the water. If it was just light converging into the top half of the lens to create an illusion, it would also expand the barge both directions, not just up, because that's what happens in the pushback pull forward example with objects intersecting focal level, expanding rather than just accommodating one direction. If it's accommodating one direction, that's proof that the object is actually at a positive or negative inclination. Both convex and flat Earth would require an illegal lift of light in order for that to happen.
Hey Hermes, is
The
there any
horizon was just created is a premature occlusion due to light lifting away from the Earth.
Hermes, are there any genres?
So light from the sun is diverging parallel to the terminator, causing the sunrise and set illusion over the optical edit of the horizontal crease.
This is cute. You really think that because
I can hear
you've
you,
got
Orson. It might be my issue. I might need to.
Can I be heard?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly fine.
Heard now? Because I bumped the wire.
We could hear you before, and we can still hear you.
Great.
Yes.
Hermes?
Fuck's sake. I'm gonna do like an entire mic check with each person now. What the fuck?
Sorry, I've been struggling with my mic recently and the server for some reason.
Alan,
Nothing was wrong on your end that I could.
how are you? How, in this concave Earth model, when you have 4 concentric glass spheres in heaven between one side of the Earth, America, and India on the other side. When I took a picture of the moon one morning at 6:30 in the morning, someone in India also see that moon at the same time I did.
Because the moon's being projected parallel to the terminator radially.
The moon is a projection?
Through glass. It's perpendicular at zenith and diverging parallel to the terminator more than 90 degrees away from zenith.
Why do we see shadows? Why do we see shadows?
Like a moon shadow during a solar eclipse for the same reason. And the reason that shadow is colored is because light is colored.
No, I mean shadows, just shadows on the surface of the moon. You can see the shadows of
the craters.
The craters,
Because it's
yes.
a solid object. I'm not saying it's a projection.
You said it was a projection.
Through glass. The solid object projected through glass. Like it's not just a hologram. It's a literal object projected through glass.
What? It's a physical object projected through glass.
What does
Yeah.
that mean?
As
How
in, like,
is that
you
possible?
see it displaced. Because the light
What
reflecting
do you
off
mean
of the moon,
displaced?
illuminating the moon, is also refracting through glass, which is diverging it, which is why you see it at a different place. So Veronica asked, why can I see the full moon in India and America simultaneously? There's at different points in the sky. It's because the light is bifurcating in a spectrum.
Well, you know, we can explain that on the globe Earth too.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah,
they have
that's
a terminator due
on
to
the
a
globe.
convexity of the
Yeah,
Earth.
the
The
Earth is
terminator
tilted.
inside the
The Earth is
concavity of the Earth.
tilted. So the Earth is tilted. So there are those regions can see the moon at the same time. That's not a problem for the globe Earth.
No one brought that up as a problem for the globe Earth. Veronica brought that up as her not understanding how it works in concave Earth and asking a question. So I helped her out. No one's trying to falsify the complexity.
It doesn't make sense because we can see the moon through the glass, but we can't see heaven in the center.
Right, because of the carbon jelly inside the celestial sphere
Why is
walls.
it blocking our view of the moon?
Dude.
I forgot about the
Oh
carbon jelly.
The carbon jelly. It wasn't ice cream. It was
There's
carbon.
there's a sand and carbon jelly milieu sunk to the bottom of the celestial ocean, which is blackening the celestial sphere's walls. And so the star bubbles are embedded within that. So the light from the star bubbles pass through, but not from the central octahedron. Because the central octahedron is not being immersed in water. The water is being repelled away from that.
Is the central octahedron the coctahedron too?
Yeah, you can call it that.
Hermes, do you realize why this source that you posted doesn't show that the Earth is? I mean, the water rises.
It does show the water rises. I already
No.
explained why it's not just a refractive illusion, because otherwise it would have to expand if the object was intersecting focal level, or was nothing below focal level would become above focal level. It would just expand both directions. Just one direction. It's going to expand if it was.
It
just
doesn't
refract.
go. So if you notice, as he zooms in, he tilts the camera down. You should pay close attention to that.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does.
Video of him turning the camera from the altitude that he's
You
at
can
and
see
showing
him pan the camera slightly
he's
down
showing
as he
outside
zooms in.
camera of him tipping the camera up. And regardless, that still doesn't change the fact that it's accommodating only up, not expanding both directions.
Could somebody corroborate this? That when he zooms in, he tilts the camera slightly down.
He literally shows proof with an outside camera. He has two cameras where he's at, and he films himself filming. So he literally shows in that same video that I linked himself filming, showing that he's tilting the camera up. Like he might accidentally like drop his camera, but then he lifts it up again. And regardless, it would expand both directions, not just accommodate up, especially if
Is
it's
this
on a
the one
convex
with the
wall
table?
below focal level.
Is this Orson?
No,
Is this
that's his pre-thing. He was showing flat earthers. Like he makes videos for flat earthers. So he's
Yeah,
showing.
you need to skip to about 1:50.
Yeah. 1:50.
Yeah.
And I just would like someone to verify
Well,
between
on
me and
the-
Hermes. I say he tilts the camera down as he zooms, and Hermes
Well,
says he.
Hermes, there's a
If
problem
he
with
drops the camera, he tilts
at
it back up.
when he's showing the balls and the gear on the table. The camera is below the level of the table.
It's literally not the point. That's for flat earthers, not for convex
Is the
earthers. It's to
point.
illustrate that light lifting away from the table can occlude. That's all
No,
that is
that's
illustrating.
not what.
It's
No,
to
it's not
illustrate the concept
illustrating
of
that light
divergent
lifting
light.
can occlude. It means that if you put the camera below the table, there'll be objects on the table that you
You'll
can't
realize
see because the
he zooms in
table
with the camera
obstruction.
and he brings it back into sight. That's the point.
No, he
It's
doesn't.
the fact that it's below the table, and when he zooms in, he still brings the full coin back into sight.
No, he
regardless
doesn't.
of the fact that the table is more than half above. Yes, it's a bit blurry, but the illustrated concept is that light diverging can occlude, and that's all that it is representing. It's to show that to flat earthers that just because there's some compression doesn't mean the Earth is flat, because light objects are being aligned due to the inclination of light diverging away from the Earth, which is why a boat and bridge are prematurely occluded bottom up. Same with the sun. So we know the sun is 3,000 miles in the sky or more. It's not kissing the Earth, but yet it appears to when the sun sets. That's illustrating that light is diverging away from the Earth. Same with a convex Earth model. It's showing that inclination of light.
Yeah, he's moving his camera
illuminated.
around. He's moving the he's He's tilting his camera all
In
over
the
the
water
place.
example,
He's
right?
tilting it
Yeah,
up
yeah,
to illustrate that no
Just
matter how high
pay
you
close
tilt it up,
attention to
still
how when he zooms in, he tilts the camera down, which explains why
he
the
drops
horizon
it
right.
and lifts it back up again. He's like
Yeah,
literally holding the camera there for a solid
not
2 minutes,
No, you
showing
have
you
to
no
hold
matter
the
how high he tips it up, it's still above him.
You have to hold the camera still. Otherwise, you don't have a valid
That's literally
observation.
irrelevant to the point being made. It's accommodating up, not expanding both directions. If it was convex, it would expand either down. If it was flat, it would expand both directions. It's accommodating up only.
This is so cute.
That's how the pushback pull forward
Right.
experiment test.
The thing is though, the reason why it looks like that is because the first, if you say like, okay, so say imagine the sea covers 10 centimeters of your screen from the bottom. The first 5 centimeters only is only about 10 meters away from the camera, and then the next 5 centimeters of the screen is, I don't know, a mile away from the camera. That's why it looks like it rises like that.
It's irrelevant to the point about
Not
expanding.
relevant. That explains why it looks
No, it
like
doesn't.
the water that's further away is higher. And the
No, it
reason why
doesn't.
the horizon rises is because the camera is tilted down as he zooms in.
You're missing the main point, dude. If it was level with you, the object in the distance, the barge, or below you, it would not just accommodate up. It would expand both directions. That's proven
It
with the pushback
It did expand
5900
both
experiment.
directions. It did
You know, like when you
expand.
zoom in on a
It
person
did
that
expand.
is that's level with your camera, but you step backwards as you do it, the inclination of that person intersecting with the wider lens, the thicker lens in your camera, causes the object to expand, even though you're further away. So the
It did
idea is if
expand.
the object was level, it would expand both directions. It only accommodated up, not down. It would do both. It only accommodated
It
up,
did
meaning
expand.
it's only coming from the positive inclination of the lens, not from both sides of the lens. That's how it distinguishes between what is above and below focal level. When you zoom in, objects intersecting focal
It
level
did
expand.
expand.
not
I've posted
accommodate.
the evidence of it expanding, okay?
That's evidence of it accommodating up. Look, it's literally above the boat in the foreground. That's what it's measuring. The boat in the foreground is level. The boat in the background is higher. It's positive inclination.
It's not higher.
It's literally
It's
higher.
farther
You have
away.
to be lying to yourself.
This is what happens to objects at a distance.
Right. Look at the image that Ride posted. You see how his line of sight for the further
Dude.
boat is higher than the mast of the
The
original boat.
camera is on the water. That only
No, it's-
happens when you rise in altitude. And this is about objects intersecting focal level, meaning when you rise in altitude, if you tip that camera down, you can make objects closer to you accommodate away. But the camera's literally on the water. It's 3 inches off the ground. That's where the lens is at. It's not standing as a 6-foot person above the boat in the foreground. It's literally below the boat in the foreground. So that means the light from the barge would have to be bending up and then down low again.
Yeah, it is an interesting effect. I'm not going to lie.
You said that he shows how high the camera is.
An example of how altitude can affect objects accommodating out of the way.
What?
This is a flat Earth example because flat Earthers use that to try to debunk positive inclination.
If there's spiral holes in the dome from the flood, why aren't we venting it? How do we hold
Okay,
on
here's
to
a
an
photo
atmosphere if
of
there's
lighter.
holes?
Don't tell me. You
One
cut
at the
out and
bottom.
didn't hear the.
Hey,
Here's the photos of the lighters that are talking about. Hold on, let me answer this before I answer your
Okay,
spiral
sorry,
question. The reason is because the glass
That's
is congealed with ice,
questions. I'm
and that's
so
why,
sorry.
and it's just resonating magnetically in a continuous spiral. But these lighters right here, the first picture at the top is of the camera on the ground. The second 2 pictures is as it's rising gradually. So the boat photo, the barge with the lighter in the distance, is higher than
just
the lighter
called
in the foreground.
perspective.
However, it is at the ground level.
This is
It's
just
not
called
like
perspective.
the final photo where it
This
is
is just how
literally what I'm
perspective
saying.
works, dude.
This is what perspective is. And I'm saying it's not disproven by the bottom photo because it's showing the attributes of the top photo, as in the camera is at ground level. So it should be doing what's happening in the top photo, but yet what's happening in the bottom photo is what we see because it's at a positive inclination and not flat like in the top photo.
What?
Long distance is showing positive inclination. That's why you're seeing the bottom photo, even though the bottom photo is the same distance as the top photo, but at a higher altitude, accommodating the objects in the foreground down. So it's not what you're saying it is, to trivialize what I'm saying, because it's not showing the requirements of the bottom photo for that to be happening. It's the requirements of the top photo. And so that's the binary argument being made.
Hey,
That's why
man,
we're
and
not
what
There's
what
no such thing
happens,
as a binary
Hermes? I
argument.
do have a question. Let's say if you reach, I mean, the furthest you go to the extreme, the higher that thing goes, right? Am I correct, or am I?
The further in the distance, the higher the landmass will rise because you live inside of a sphere.
True. So what happens there, man? I mean, why don't you fall, man? What is fucking water doing up there?
Why does a bubble remain its integrity when it's blown?
Well, all I'm saying
air
is
pressure?
you should get more velocity and different
You do.
properties there, no?
As you rise in altitude, you become lighter because there's less atmosphere above you.
No, but at ground level. I mean, the ground is up, right?
Right. On the ground, you're heavier. That's the distinction. That's the velocity difference.
Wait a second. Wait a second. Your weight doesn't change as you go higher.
Your acceleration changes. That's the distinction.
Acceleration changes.
Like
Hermes, you're supposed to
acceleration
fall,
affecting
man. What the
you.
fuck?
You're perpendicular to pressure inside of a sphere, so that's why things fall.
So Hermes, if there are holes in the dome, the spiral holes that you say is what the galaxies are in the dome, that would mean that we're constantly venting. How do we even hold atmosphere? How do we have atmosphere? Because if it's venting out all the time, where does atmosphere come from?
They're not constantly venting out. They were. Now they're like microscopic heat escape due to the congealed ice mantle. But the reason they're still spiraling is because they're magnetically resonating around that hole.
One
that
thing at a time.
originally
Congealed
escaped.
ice mantle? What do
So like
you mean
when the windows
congealed
of
ice
heaven were
mantle?
open, when the windows of heaven were open during the
Congealed.
flood,
It's congealed. It's like pudding.
Let him finish.
right? Ice accumulated over the holes, and so now instead of releasing water, it's just releasing heat. So it's a heat escape, and so that's why the spirals continue to magnetically resonate around those holes. And the reason there appears to be gravitational lensing around the spiral galaxies is because it's a bumpy glass surface, and so starlight is displaced around the spiral galaxy due to the bumpy glass surface.
Well, that clears that up.
I have no
So like
further
nebulae is Latin for little cloud mist. This is the only terrestrial biome in the entire universe containing all galaxies, this Earth.
Right.
What's carbon jelly and how does it form? And does anybody